subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Amazing explosive power, like the reaction instinct of a beast. And after entering the angry state, he obviously has the ability to strengthen, and the hardness of the skin has reached an extremely high level. "Stop, Ilmi, you have already lost," Silva Zoldyck commented. He glanced at his son, who was struggling to stand up in the distance, stepped forward, and stared at Liku in a state of scorching eyes. "Little guy, your opponent is me. To hurt my people and my family territory is the biggest provocation to the Zoldyck family. But you, little guy, probably don't have much reason now, and you can hear what I say clearly, so let me wake you up." Silva Zoldyck spoke with an expression. His amazing momentum suppressed Liku. Sure enough, after feeling this amazing momentum, Liku, who was furious and lost his mind, turned his head and aimed his attack at Silva. Mind bullet! Without saying anything, Silva made a starting move, and the mind bullet constructed by the E-temporal structure whizzed in. Boom! It bombarded the ground like a missile. But what surprised Silva was that Liku's reaction was surprisingly sharp, and all his attack techniques were avoided by the opponent. It seems that it is still very difficult to hit with a long-range attack. "I have to do it myself." Silva moved his knuckles and twisted his neck, making a crackling sound. In the back room, the old man Zeno was standing by the window, overlooking everything that happened. TSK, 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 very amazing power reaction. In defense, it can be said that he is a super genius with all-round development. The only regret is that he is not calm enough and is easily bought by emotions. Zeno made his own comments. According to the current state, he may be able to hold on for 3 minutes in front of Silva. In the monitoring room, Miji and Kikyo were watching the surveillance screen. Big brother. Big brother lost. The fat man Miji was stunned. At least since he was old enough to understand, he had never seen Big Brother Ilmi lose a battle. In his impression, Big Brother was almost invincible. In the battle just now, both sides were defeated directly after just one move, especially when he saw the traces of explosion and collapse on the ground. The fat man couldn't help but tremble in his heart. This guy is not like a human at all. He feels like a humanoid monster. This kind of power is really amazing. No wonder Big Brother lost. Ilmi, the noblewoman Kikyo, screamed a little crazy. Seeing Ilmi injured, she was heartbroken, but more of it was horror. The strength of Liku in his exposed state was so terrifying. Even Ilmi couldn't resist him. Of course, the most important reason for the defeat just now was Ilmi's contempt for Liku. It can be said that both times he lost because of carelessness. But this can't be blamed entirely on Ilmi. The first time was because of the explosion of divine power red. It was like a child suddenly hit 100 kilograms of full force, naturally catching an adult off guard. The second time was because of the blessing of Thunder Fist Drum. After blessing the Thunder Psychic Power Red, Liku's strength increased again. From 100 to at least 500, the sudden increase in terrifying power caught him off guard, and he was defeated again. Ilmi was bitter. Inside the castle, Silva's figure disappeared on the spot. The next moment, he appeared beside Liku and kicked him with a whip kick. Boom! Even Liku, who was in a furious state, was kicked back and slid more than 10 meters before stopping. Silva was even more amazing in terms of strength. "Little guy, let me wake you up." Silva spoke expressionlessly, and he dodged and chased in front of Liku again and attacked Liku again. 0-1-4-5-1-2-3-2-8 Faloo 0-3-3-3-1-3-3-9-1. Every blow is fatal. Different from the fighting style of ordinary people, the fighting style cultivated by this killer family is extremely dangerous. Any physical fighting skills, such as elbows, sidge, knees, palms, fingers, etc., are fatal threats. It can be said that the whole person is trained to be the most powerful fighting machine. Puff. Blood splatters. Silva pierced through Liku's right shoulder with a palm, and then followed it with a connecting elbow strike, breaking Liku's right arm and knocking him flying. Roar! But Liku, who was knocked flying, did not wake up because of the pain, but still roared like a beast. Silva frowned slightly, and he rushed forward again to wake Liku up completely. Silva, be careful, it's almost over. If you continue like this, Killua will wake up. Zeno's voice came from the headset. Silva did not reply, but moved forward again, leaving a residual image behind. He grabbed Liku's other intact arm. It's over. He has completely lost the power to resist, and it will be easy to wake him up next. Puff! Blood bloomed again, and Silva's hand injured Liku again. He breathed a sigh of relief. Snap! But at this moment, Chuba was shocked to see that the other party's bloody hand actually grabbed his arm directly. And he was surprisingly strong. He didn't look like a seriously injured guy at all. What shocked him even more was that he saw Liku's right arm, which was obviously injured, recovering quickly at a speed visible to the naked eye. I got you. Hey! Liku suddenly grinned, revealing a beast-like smile. His eyes were blood red. At this moment, Silva had an illusion that he was bitten by a dark continental monster. It was as if he had awakened a terrifying monster. Oops. Silva realized that something was wrong in an instant. He wanted to distance the two of them, but found that the other party's hand was holding him tightly like an iron hoop, and he couldn't get rid of it at all. Moreover, the strength was incredible, and he even felt that his hand bones would be crushed. Old dang, you hit me so hard just now, and now you finally took the bait, and I should also give you a good show. Liku was excited. The wounds on his right arm were not a problem at all. With the abilities of super speed regeneration, purple, and healing purple, as long as his head was not cut off or his heart was not crushed instantly, other injuries could be healed quickly, and it would only consume some physical strength. Then now, it's my moment. Showtime. Divine Power Red. Thunder Psychic Power Red. Thunder Fist Drum. Fire Red Eyes Red. Enhancer Psychic Power Purple. Physical Skills Gold. Iron Tank Gold. Assassination Skills Gold. Boom, in an instant. Liku opened his eyes directly. Unlike Kurapika, who would attach special effects to the red eyes when opening the fire red eyes, Liku did not have any special effects after opening the fire red eyes, but this effect was real. As expected of the top blood limit in the entire Hunter world, all special systems were maxed out at the moment of opening, and his own combat power also soared to a very terrifying state. At the beginning, Kurapika had only passed the Hunter assessment, and when he was still a rookie, he defeated the top combat power of the Spider Brigade, Yuvajin, by opening the fiery eyes. This fiery eyes can be said to be the top cheat in this world. You should feel honored, Ba. You were the first person to taste the taste of my fiery eyes. Liku laughed wildly in his heart. The next moment, the fist wrapped in a trace of terrifying lightning and scorching heat fell towards Silva. The two were completely in close combat. Half-meter combat. Every punch hits the flesh. Boom! A deafening explosion. It seemed that the entire castle was crumbling. The terrifying and amazing air waves rolled everywhere. Each time Liku's punch landed, it was blocked by Silva's fist, but the ground behind him exploded one after another, and huge fist marks fell one after another. It was as terrifying as a bomber. At this moment, the interior of the castle seemed to be under the bombing of a heavy bomber. On the balcony, Zeno Zoldyck, the old man with his hands behind his back, who was preparing to watch the end, was stunned at this moment. He looked at the terrifying attack power below in disbelief. This level of power has even reached the level of Netero. Is this guy really a rookie who just got a Hunter license? This terrifying power is simply incredible, and it is not something that a human body can produce. Could it be that this kid still has the blood of the Dark Continent monster in his body? Countless thoughts emerged in Zeno Zoldyck's mind at this moment. He clearly saw that his son was obviously losing in this super close-range melee. Silva's fist was completely suppressed and began to break the skin, bleed, and even bloody. In the monitoring room, the lady and the fat man were completely dumbfounded. Their minds were blank. Some suspected that everything they saw on the surveillance screen was not real. That was Silva Zoldyck. Although the contemporary family in the entire family was not the strongest in terms of combat power, it was at least the strongest in appearance. But even so, now, it has become like this. especially Liku. That guy is now like an artillery position, just like a missile bombardment. It is even worrying that if the battle continues like this, the entire castle will collapse. The two opened their mouths, so wide that they could fit 2 goose eggs, and their expressions were extremely horrified. It was as if they had seen a ghost. Chapter 65, I'm in a drama mode. How can I stop just like that? Is that, Daddy? Is this true? The fat man softened his eyes, feeling unbelievable. He had a feeling that he was dreaming, and it was a very long nightmare. Silva. He actually hurt Silva. The lady screamed in horror, as if she had seen something incredible. Kikyo was also a top assassin. He chose to marry Silva because he was defeated by him. She was naturally very clear about her husband's strength. At least in the whole world, he was also one of the top ones. But now, not to mention that he couldn't take down the opponent, he was even suppressed by the opponent in close combat and retreated step by step. Is this really the Silva he knew? No. It was that kid who was too abnormal. The terrifying fist power. Even the aftermath of the fist wind was enough to blast the ground of the castle into a dent and crack. You can imagine, how much terrible pressure did Silva, who was at the center of the storm, endure? But all this was completely beyond the two people's expectations. This was a scene they would never see in their dreams. Inside the castle, Ilmi stood up with difficulty. He even forgot the pain of his broken arms. The empty eyes rarely revealed the emotions of surprise, shock, and disbelief. He stared blankly at the scene of the battle in front of him. Boom! The terrifying explosion sounded, and it even felt like it would never stop. Silva's response has become more and more hasty. Liku, who has activated the red eyes plus thunder power, has an absolute explosion of combat power at this moment, more than 10 times. Such a terrifying explosion is simply unbelievable, especially the lightning that emerged from the opponent's fist, which also made Silva feel paralyzed. He couldn't even remember how many punches he had gathered. But the opponent was like a crazy beast, grabbing his hand and almost digging into the flesh, and the two of them were completely crazy half-meter hand-to-hand combat. Silva also has steel body gold, generally invulnerable to swords and guns, water and fire. A real steel man. When Liku's fist landed on him, there would be a thunderous explosion like steel colliding. But the same. Silva's fist landed on Liku. Iron plate tank, gold plus enhancer telekinesis, plus fire red eyes, plus thunder telekinesis. It also burst out with a steel-like sound. It was like 2 Iron Men constantly fighting. All the skills did not exist. It was a real fight, and it became a competition of endurance and resistance. And the two sides fought madly. The ground and wall behind Liku also collapsed because of the punch that penetrated his body. But compared to each other, Silva's side was more miserable. Liku's full power was terrifying. The ground and wall behind Silva had completely broken and shattered, almost turning into powder. Blood was splattered. The extent and area of the wall and ground behind Liku were obviously not as shocking as Silva's. Silva's burst was not as good as Liku's full power. Everyone was stunned. A punch-to-flesh attack. Everyone was so shocked that they couldn't say a word. They could only open their eyes wide and look at everything in front of them stupidly. Even Zeno, who was standing on a high platform, was silent. The horrific fighting lasted for more than 10 minutes. The interior of the entire castle was in ruins, and there was no good place to be seen. The two stopped attacking. Smoke and dust filled the air. It was extremely quiet. Everyone looked at the messy ground in front of them with burning eyes. It was almost like a ruin. The smoke and dust gradually dissipated. Everyone suddenly saw a man covered in blood, like a beast, walking out slowly. His other hand was holding a strong man who was also covered in wounds and fainted. Silva was beaten down. Seeing this scene, everyone present was collectively dumbfounded, and everyone felt that what they saw was not real. No Silva? How could it be? It's definitely not official. How could this be possible? How could Silva fail? How could he lose to such a little devil? Lady Kikyo screamed hysterically and unbelievably. She couldn't believe that her husband would lose to such a kid. Although the other party was indeed very powerful, At least in her impression, her husband was almost invincible. The fat mammy G was also dumbfounded. He sat on the chair blankly, looking at the surveillance screen in front of him with lifeless eyes. And the lowly Coluto, who just knocked on the door, was also dumbfounded. He looked at the scene on the screen in disbelief. In his impression, his father, who was like a god of war, was dragged by the guy in front of him, who made him extremely unhappy, like 10 dead dogs. Lost. My father actually lost, and the man who was like a god of war lost to this kid. Coluto felt that his 3 views were all hit by an unprecedented strong impact. In the training ground, the seriously injured Ermi was stunned. He had thought of countless results, but he never thought it would be such a result. Even before this, he was a little annoyed about his defeat. It was not because he was careless, but because he could suddenly burst out with incredible strength. Every time, he could burst out with several times the previous combat power. This is simply not the power that humans possess. But even so, he always believed that his father would defeat this difficult guy, because his father had never made any mistakes or failures from beginning to end. He is the Optimus Prime of the Zoldyck family. But now everyone has witnessed with their own eyes that this Optimus Prime of the family was destroyed by someone. And it was an unknown little guy. Unbelievable. I can't believe it. If you think about it this way, it doesn't seem to be a particularly embarrassing thing for me to lose to this kid, because the power used by the opponent in the battle with his father just now was at least several times more than when he fought against himself. Indescribable. Ilmi's mood at this moment is extremely complicated. At least before this, he was considered a genius of the family, and so was Killua. But now, compared with the young man in front of him, Ilmi suddenly felt a little ridiculous. What so-called genius, what so-called evil, was completely vulnerable in front of this monster. The appearance of this guy was simply a nightmare for everyone. For the first time, strong emotions emerged in Ilmi's empty eyes. Reluctant, helpless, and desperate. Because the opponent's age and talent far exceed his own, he may not have the chance to defeat this guy in this life. On the high platform, the old man Zeno's hands behind his back trembled slightly, and he stared at the bottom with wide eyes, looking at his son who was in such a mess for the first time. The last time his son was in such a mess was probably decades ago. At that time, he was still a boy who was still wet behind the ears. He was severely taught a lesson by himself and tasted the taste of failure. But since that time, Silva has never failed again. He rose with absolutely dazzling talent until he entrusted the entire family to his hands. Unexpectedly, he was defeated so thoroughly now. Although this failure also had a certain factor of underestimating the enemy. If Liku had not chosen the close combat method and deliberately used his own injury to lure the opponent into the trap, Silva would never lose so easily. Even if he couldn't defeat the opponent, he would draw. But this kind of close combat within half a meter has nothing to do with skills and assassination. It is purely a competition of strength and endurance. Whoever has stronger attack power, longer health bar, and higher defense can win the final victory. Obviously, his son lost in front of Li Ku, who turned into a beast. This guy, the strength he just burst out is at least 10 times more than that against Ilmi. Incredible. It's incredible. And Silva is not underestimated. Even Zeno himself will definitely make a similar choice. It can only be said that Li Ku is too cruel. The first arm just made Silva take it lightly, and the second arm made Silva choose to end the battle. In the end, he took the bait. Is it relying on the instinct of a beast, or a crazy fighting style? Netero, what kind of monster do you fancy? Zeno couldn't help but wail from the bottom of his heart at this moment. In his time, Netero had already stood at the top of the pyramid, even far surpassing the second-ranked one, truly a leader. It was impossible to look up to him. But now, this little guy, favored by Netero, in terms of talent and evilness, even far surpassed the original Netero. You have to know that this little guy is only a teenager now. After 20 years, or even longer, no one can imagine how terrifying he will be. This era is changing. I'm afraid there are no more ships for us old guys. Zeno couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Below, Silva, the patriarch of the Zoldyck family, was held by Liku like a dead dog, and a trail of blood flowed on the ground. Ding! Congratulations on defeating Silva in the battle posture Zoldyck. 10% chance to automatically copy. Ding! You heard the echo of strong luck burst. 2 ding! Congratulations on copying physical skills gold. Mind bullet gold. Ding! You have physical skills gold automatically merged into physical skills double gold. A sound like the sound of nature rang in Liku's mind. Immediately, a large amount of information poured into Liku's mind, among which was the ability of Silva's physical skills and mind bullets. The prerequisite for mind bullets is Conjurer Mind Power, and now Liku has brushed out Conjurer Mind Power Master, gold from Hisoka. That means the moment he obtained this ability, he had the ability to use mind bullets. Perfect. The enhancement of physical skills made Liku's physique become much stronger. The dignified Zoldyck family patriarch was defeated by a teenager at this moment. This scene was really too shocking. No one dared to stop Liku, including Yilmi, who could only watch him dragging his father with one hand and walking slowly forward. Almost done, kid. A figure fell down. It was Zeno Zoldyck. The former patriarch who was watching the show on the high platform before was also the second strongest person in the family now. As for the first one, sorry, it's not Silva Zoldyck. Although he is the patriarch of the entire family, his actual combat power is weaker than that of this old man. It's just that the old man has withdrawn from the battlefield and lived in seclusion behind the scenes. This is equivalent to an open secret. But in fact, as a time traveler, Liku understands that the reason why the Zoldyck family has been able to maintain its position in the assassination world for so many years is, of course, due to the leadership and strength of Zeno and Silva, the patriarchs. But there is still that one, Maha Zoldyck. This guy is the strongest of the entire Zoldyck family, Zeno's grandfather. He is a contemporary of Netero. He even has the title of the second strongest fighter in the world. And this guy has not died so far and is still alive in this world, but it is not clear where he is. When he was young, he even went to the Dark Continent with Netero and his son Jaeger Zoldyck, but the final result was an embarrassing escape back. Since then, the Dark Continent has become a taboo topic for humans. It is precisely because of Maha's relationship that the Zoldyck family can maintain its prosperity in today's human society. Even though it is a killer family, it can live in a tourist attraction without being besieged by other forces. Behind this must be the result of the competition between multiple forces. Looking at the bloody boy in front of him like a beast, Zeno was very emotional. If it were anyone else, as long as they were not the one Netero liked, they would probably have no chance to leave here today. But Liku is the one Netero liked. Zeno didn't want to fall out with Netero, so even if Liku killed Silva today, he could only swallow the bitter fruit. Ilmi in the distance was in a complicated mood at the moment. He never dreamed that the situation would become so bad. Originally, he thought that the Zoldyck family would defeat this person with an absolute advantage, and then get some secrets about him from the other party. But now it seems they failed to steal the chicken and lost a handful of rice. It is even possible that all members will fall. But now, Grandpa Zeno has taken action, so everything has been settled. Let go of Silva. We are not enemies, and they are fine without your friends. Old man Zeno said faintly. Hey, but at this moment, Liku's acting skills are still online, showing a smile like a beast. The effect of the red eyes has not expired yet, since the opponent has already shown that he has no ill will towards him. No matter how he makes a fuss, Zeno, the old man, can only swallow his anger. With Netero backing him up, he dare not touch him. But in order to prevent this old guy from taking an unconventional approach, Jiku was on guard. He pretended to make a move, and a hunter license fell out of his pocket. Clang, it was a 2-star hunter. And the next moment, the beast Liku threw Silva out like trash, roaring towards the old man Zeno and died. Chapter 66, Forever Allies. 2-star hunter. It turns out that Netero has known about Liku's strength for a long time. It seems that Ilmi has really caused us a big trouble this time. Zeno couldn't help but smile bitterly. He naturally saw the 2-star hunter license clearly. 2-star hunter is different from ordinary hunter. This thing needs the approval of the president of the association to obtain. Moreover, Ilmi personally participated in the assessment. The information he provided was in the results of the assessment. Everyone only obtained an ordinary hunter license. But now it seems that Liku has been favored by Netero, which even makes Zeno a little suspicious. Will the old guy Netero have already accepted him as his apprentice? If this is the case, if he hurts him here, it will probably be quite troublesome. Netero is not really easy to talk to. To be able to truly sit on the throne of the world's #1, and no one else dares to provoke, is definitely not just amiable. Netero's iron-blooded wrist is also amazing. It was just a moment of surprise. Zeno found himself in a passive position. Liku was still bombarding him. Pure physical skills plus telekinesis-enhanced attacks were like a wild beast that had lost its mind. With Silva's previous experience, Zeno, as the old patriarch, naturally had a wealth of combat experience and would not let himself be passive in such a battle scene. He just dodged Liku's attack with a few light dodges. Then he saw the opportunity. Dragon head play painting. Roar, a dragon head made entirely of telekinesis, roared towards Liku, instantly blocking all the pursuit routes. It must be said that the old ones are still the best. It's a pity. The effect of the red eyes is almost gone, and now the 267 guys in the old family are alert again. It's difficult to defeat him under normal circumstances. Lika sighed in his heart. Silva consumed too much of his own strength, and the red eyes could not be kept open. Of course, now, his physical skills and double gold blessing, and the red eyes will last longer. But it's still very troublesome to take down 2 cities in a row. Zeno's entry. I'm quite envious. Divine power red. Fiery eyes red. Physical skills double gold. Thunder mind power red. Thunder fist drum. Boom like directly bombarded Zeno's dragon head painting head on. The energy of this thing was even more amazing than Silva's. It pushed him out forcefully. The terrifying force even made Liku feel like he was bitten by a real dragon. But this push only lasted for more than 10 meters before it stopped abruptly. Arcs of electricity jumped and flashed on Liku's body. His hands actually grabbed the upper and lower jaws of the dragon head, like the king of power in ancient times. Roar, Liku roared like a thunder beast. Tear in the shocked eyes of Zeno Zoldyck. His dragon head painting was torn into 2 halves. There were even lightning flashing at the crack. Red eyes disappeared. The ultimate time is over. What a pain. What a pity. The ultimate time is over. Still want to make another fortune. Liku sighed in his heart, and then fell to the ground as if he had lost control. He did not faint, but acted the whole trick for Zeno to see. After confirming that Zeno and the others did not really want to attack him, Liku automatically put himself into a light sleep state. When he woke up, it was already bright. Brother Ku, you finally woke up. Seeing Liku wake up, Gon immediately rushed over and almost burst into tears. Great. I was worried for a long time. Brother Ku, you scared us to death before. Leorio was also surprised and excited. Brother Ku, do you feel uncomfortable? Kurapika said worriedly. They woke up earlier than immediately. In fact, they were just knocked down by Ilmi's sleeping pills, and they did not suffer any injuries. Everything they did was just to stimulate Liku's greatest fighting power. Liku did not disappoint them. Brother Liku, thank you. Killua, a handsome little boy with silver hair wearing clean clothes, stood beside him with red eyes. Although he was restricted in his movements, and even in a sleeping state, his consciousness was extremely clear and he could clearly perceive the situation outside. He also learned that Liku went into a state of rampage because of the death of him and his friends, and even defeated his father and his brother easily. Unimaginably powerful. For himself, this brother Liku can be said to be a true ally. Even during the time when Liku was in a coma, Killua threatened his family that if Liku died or could not wake up, he would leave the family and never come back. This was his promise to Liku. Now that Liku has woken up, the other family members present couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this monster finally woke up. Even my dad hasn't woken up yet. This guy's recovery ability is really abnormal. The fat man Miji was amazed. He didn't dare to look at Liku and instinctively took 2 steps back. The little girl Kaluto gritted her teeth and stared at Liku. He felt that his 3 views were completely shattered. The other party actually defeated his father, who was almost omnipotent in his impression. He even had nightmares these days, and he dreamed of a big devil in his dream, and that big devil was Liku. The little girl Kaluto clenched her pink fists and stared at Liku with big eyes, with an expression of anger and fear. The lady Kikyo was also here. "Ah, Mr. Liku, you finally woke up. It was our family's poor hospitality. Are you okay? The Zoldyck family will not be your enemy." After seeing Liku wake up, she made a sharp and high-pitched cry, seeming excited and nervous. A terrifying genius who can defeat her husband at this age. How terrifying will she become when she reaches adulthood in the future? This is definitely not a monster that the whole family can afford to provoke. And Grandpa Zeno has already asked everyone about what to do after Liku wakes up. The Zoldyck family will never be an enemy of Liku, even he. How do you feel? My friend, the old man, is Zeno Zoldyck. We met 2 days ago. Zeno Zoldyck walked up slowly, and a smile appeared on his old face. 2 days ago, Liku showed a somewhat confused expression. He had to act in full. He pretended to be unconscious, and he knew that he had been lying on this bed for 2 days. During these 2 days, their family invited various top doctors, and even Zeno personally treated him. You have been unconscious for 2 days. It seems that after entering the rage state, you seem to have forgotten everything that happened. Please watch VR. Zeno Zoldyck has made all the preparations and even put the relevant videos directly in front of Liku. Even if he watched these videos again. Gon, Killua, Liori, and Kurapika were stunned. The scene was really shocking, especially when Liku went berserk. He was like a human tank, destroying everything he went. There was also the scene where Silva and Zoldyck were fighting each other half a meter apart, punching each other in the flesh, which made people's blood boil. This is a real battle, especially at the end. Liku became the final winner with blood all over his body and walked out of the ruins like a beast. That scene was really too shocking. Even though the result was already known, the whole audience was still silent. Everyone's eyes were filled with unprecedented shock. Liku also showed the shock and surprise he deserved very professionally. Is this really me? Why do I have no memory at all? How is Lord Silva? If I hurt Lord Silva, I would be extremely guilty. We are Killua's friends. Liku cooperated with the performance very well. It's okay. Silva's injury is almost healed, but that guy is probably more serious than you. It may take 10 o'clock for him to wake up. Zeno smiled and comforted, looking at Liku's eyes more like an elder looking at his body, even with a hint of doting. Ilmi, come out. Explain to Liku why you let him come here. This time everything happened because of you. I hope you can give Liku a good explanation. As long as you are not satisfied, I will punish you according to the family law. The old man Zeno said in a deep voice. Ilmi was sent here by 2 servants, but at this moment he was tied up and even asked for forgiveness. Liku, we didn't know you were a person Netero valued before. My grandson Ilmi almost caused a disaster this time. You can vent your displeasure to him, or even kill him. I can guarantee that no one from the family will come to trouble you. He brought this upon himself, the old man Zeno said in a cold voice. Hearing this, the fat man Miji trembled all over, his face as pale as paper. He was now extremely glad that he did not take the initiative to offend the monster Liku, otherwise his fate would be no different from that of his elder brother. But he couldn't understand. The eldest brother has a very high status in the family, and even Grandpa loves him very much, but in this situation, he would rather abandon him. The words of old man Zeno made the noble lady Kikyo scream out of control. Father-in-law, you can't do this. Ilmi is your eldest grandson. How can you let him die? She thought it was like crazy. Ilmi was also her favorite. How could she bear to kill him? Shut up. Listen to your father. Little friend Liku, we were reckless in the past 2 days. We just wanted to test you, but we didn't expect you to give us a big surprise. My father's words are also my words. The Zoldyck family will never take action against you. If you can't do it yourself, I can choose to do it for you. If you're also full of anger towards me, I can also hand it over to you to deal with. Life and death are up to you." Outside the door, Silva strode in. This man is still the same as before, as if he is unapproachable, with an extremely cold gaze, a face as sharp as a knife, and a burly figure. He is extremely cold. Or to be a child of this family, you must be aware of death from that moment on. As a killer, no one knows which will come first, an accident or tomorrow. Ilmi's eyes were empty. He had no objection to what his father and grandfather said. He had already realized his death a long time ago. Silva's words frightened Gon, Leorio, and Karapika because it was the first time they saw such a cold family relationship. But they already knew what happened 2 days ago through the video. They could only say that this joke or this test method was really too much. Killua's heart was also very complicated at the moment. He was very afraid of Ilmi, but when he learned from his grandfather and father that Liku would kill his eldest brother with just one word, he was still a little trembling. But he would never say a word because Liku saved him, which led to what happened 2 days ago. But he didn't expect that even his father was willing to make such an amazing compensation. All eyes immediately looked in the direction of Liku, because everyone knows that Liku's words can determine the future of Ilmi. Even Silva can be determined. It seems that the Zoldyck family is determined to join Liku's allies, or for the sake of the family. For the sake of continuation, Zoldyck will never offend such a terrible enemy as Liku. Since they can't become enemies, it's best to become friends. If they still choose to protect Ilmi at this point, it is very likely that they will touch Liku instead. The other party is the one that Netero has taken a fancy to. 2-star Hunter. That thing actually used to tell the top strongmen in the world that Liku is the one that Netero has taken a fancy to. Of course, those guys who are not well-informed 1.4, or those who can't occupy such a high position to see things, will not know the meaning behind this disgusting hunter license. Even Zeno Zoldyck suspected that Luo was training Jiku as a successor. So between the family and Ilmi, there is no second choice for such a choice. Silva also made the same choice. For the sake of the family, he could sacrifice his son and even himself. DB. Lika couldn't help but sigh in his heart. What a cold-hearted family. In order to maintain the continuation of the family, they would rather kill their own offspring and even themselves. No wonder if it weren't for this. I'm afraid Killua's family would have been destroyed by other killer families long ago. Liku was also full of emotion in his heart. It must be said that the Zoldyck family can stand at the top of this world, and naturally it has its strengths. Lord Silva, Mr. Ilmi, let everything that happened in the past go. This is not your fault, and I should also bear part of the responsibility. Let the past go, everyone, Lika said with a smile. His words instantly cleared the extremely depressing atmosphere, and everyone's mood seemed to have improved. Ilmi looked at Liku in astonishment, and emotions emerged in his empty eyes, which were somewhat complicated. Silva was also stunned. Zeno's tense heart finally relaxed, and a smile finally appeared on his wrinkled face. Friend Liku, I, Zeno Zoldyck, promise here that as long as I live in this world, our entire family will become your most steadfast ally. Please accept this little gift from me. Zeno Zoldyck smiled. Chapter 67. Old Six Behavior. Explosive Zeno, a strange black token, was handed to Liku. It was made of neither iron nor wood, and there was a dragon head logo on it. Father. Silva couldn't help but change his expression at this scene. On the contrary, Ilmi, Killua, Miji, and Kikyo were all confused. This is the family token left by our ancestors. As long as you have this token, our Zoldyck family can do one thing for you without any conditions. In addition, with this token, you will be treated as a VIP in any intelligence agency of our family. You can retrieve all the information below the authority of the head of the family. The old man Zeno handed it over and said solemnly, "This isn't it equivalent to a guest or an authority token like an honorary chairman. It's pretty good. Is this the legendary clan order in our family? So it's like this." Killua was also stunned. He had heard about this thing from his grandfather when he was a child, but he had never seen it. Not only him, but even Ilmi had never seen it. Father-in-law, Are you sure you want to give such a valuable thing to others? If this brother Liku uses this token recklessly, it may cause a huge disaster to our family. The noblewoman Kikyo screamed, looking worried and nervous. But at this moment, she naturally did not dare to target Liku. After all, her husband was defeated by Liku. Little friend Liku is Killua's friend, is also a friend of our family. This is my decision. My friend, please accept it. I'm afraid I'll have to trouble you again in the next period of time. I won't stop Killua's choice again. This thing is part of the reward I pay you as an old man. Zeno said with a smile. Others have already said this. If I don't continue, it would be a bit too tactless. In any case, Zeno is one of the few people who truly stand at the top of the human world today. Then I thank you. Killua is Gon's friend, and naturally my friend. Don't worry, I will take good care of him. Liku smiled and accepted the token 28. If he didn't accept the token today, I'm afraid that the old buyers would still feel uncomfortable. After accepting it, they felt more at ease. Besides, how could they refuse this free lunch? This thing may play a significant role in the future. The Zoldyck family has been operating its industry for dozens or hundreds of years, and its intelligence agencies are spread all over the world. With this thing, they can save themselves a lot of trouble. Of course, as a killer family, their intelligence agencies are very secretive. That's great. Ha ha ha. Liku, you can come here often when you're free in the future. Zeno Zoldyck said with a smile. Of course, old man. I have an unwelcome request. I wonder if you can consider it. Lika suddenly said, well, just ask, old man, as long as I can do it. I can't agree. Zeno was in a very good mood at the moment. I once heard from President Netero that Master Zeno is one of the strongest people in the world, so I have always hoped to have a chance to fight him. Is it convenient today? Lika smiled and showed his white teeth. He has not yet brushed the old man Zeno's entries. And Liku has discovered a rule. That is, those opponents who have been defeated by him will not drop entries if they are defeated again in a short period of time, and a certain cooling time is required. However, Zeno is different. This guy is now the real behind-the-scenes boss in the Zoldyck family. At least it was like this before Maha came out. Moreover, every time Liku saw this old man in front of him during this period, he felt itchy in his heart and was jealous of the entries on him. Name, Zeno's Zoldyck entries. Conjurer's Psycho Grandmaster, red. Assassination Grandmaster, red. Psycho Skill Dragon Head Painting, red. Psycho Circle, double gold. Super Calm, gold, etc. As expected, he is a man who can face off against President Netero. This guy has 3 red entries, including the Psycho skill entry. But if ordinary people want to practice this skill entry that has reached the red level, they will never be able to do it in their lifetime without talent. Only those truly extraordinary geniuses can spend their entire lives to practice it to the red level. And once this entry is copied, it will become Liku's wedding dress. So cool. Huh? Ha 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 ha. Are you planning to spar with me? Of course there is no problem. Let's go to my training ground. Old man Zeno said with a smile. Of course, just the 2 of us. Liku suggested. Zeno was stunned for a moment, then smiled and agreed. Okay, everyone, you wait here for a while. The old man and the young man will go to spar. After saying that, Zeno and Liku left directly. Everyone in the scene looked at Liku's back eagerly. Killua's eyes were even more complicated. As a member of the family, he was considered a genius since he was a child, and his only goal was to defeat his brother Ilmi. But for a long time, he was immersed in the inner fear of his brother, and even as long as he saw his brother's face, he would be afraid from the instinct. As for his father and grandfather, they were almost insurmountable mountains in Killua's heart. He didn't even think about defeating his father or grandfather. But now, the elder brother Liku that he met not only defeated his brother Ilmi, but also beat his father. In his impression, his father was almost invincible like a god of war. He was dragged out of the ruins by Liku, covered in blood like a dead dog. That scene was deeply imprinted in Killua's mind, was unforgettable. He thought that as long as he worked hard enough, he could catch up with Liku, but he only found out now. Liku was already on another level. He was already as powerful as his father and even his grandfather, and he was more like a child in front of Liku, but the age difference between them was not big, even only 2 or 3 years. Now, in front of everyone, Jiku actually challenged his grandfather. This completely broke Killua's thoughts and crushed his 3 views. At this moment, he suddenly realized how ridiculous he was in the past, thinking that his brother was invincible. Even the brother who thought he was invincible was defeated in just one move in front of Jiku. He still had a long way to go. This elder brotherly coup was the goal he should pursue. I've decided, from now on, elder brotherly coup is the goal I will pursue for the rest of my life, and I must catch up with elder brotherly coup. Killua suddenly shouted, clenched his fists, and his eyes were filled with unprecedented fighting spirit. Me too. I want to catch up with Brother Ku. Gon was also very excited. Then, let's shout a slogan too. Leorio's mouth twitched awkwardly. He didn't have such a whimsical idea as these 2 little guys. And after this period of contact, Leorio also realized that his talent in fighting was not so outstanding, at least it seemed so at present. It was completely a fantasy to want to catch up with Li Ku. Forget it. It won't take long for Brother Li Ku to be known in this world. He must be one of the top existences in the future in this human world. It is my lifelong honor to be his friend. Kurapika sighed softly, feeling deeply. By the way, Kurapika, didn't you say you want to seek revenge on the brigade? If Brother Ku... Leorio's eyes suddenly lit up. Shut up. Leorio, this is my own business, and has nothing to do with Brotherly Ku. I will personally avenge the hatred of our people, and I don't want Brotherly Ku to get involved in my disputes. The people in the brigade are not safer than Zoldyck. Kurapika said dully. That guy, I really want to go and see him. I wonder how Grandpa will beat that guy. Fatty G pouted. Lolita Coluto was a little unhappy. He is definitely not Grandpa's opponent. But Grandpa should not be ruthless. It's really hateful. She was still a little upset about being defeated by the other party. Now there is one more person stronger than herself, which is really an unhappy thing. Ilmi was silent. Suddenly, he felt someone patting his shoulder. Turning his head, it was his father, Silva Zoldyck. You were careless. Ilmi, I approached you and you didn't notice it. Don't worry too much. There are always monsters in this world that are far beyond geniuses. If you can't surpass them, then try to get close to them and become their friends. Isn't this a way to survive? Silva said comfortingly. He understood. I'm afraid his eldest son is under great pressure now, being defeated by Li Ku with one punch. Whenever he thinks of this, it is absolutely depressing. Ilmi did not speak, but looked at the direction where Li Ku left with empty eyes, not knowing what he was thinking. Secret training ground. Hee, today is just right, old man. I also want to see your true strength. Do you remember the last time you fought with me? Zeno said with his hands behind his back. When? Li Ku was confused. On self-cultivation of an actor. At the beginning, it was because of acting that Netero, the old man, suffered in front of him and the red entry exploded. Even Netero has beaten himself, not to mention that he has gained so many entries now, and his strength has greatly improved compared to before. Why don't you beat this old man down? Of course, if there's an opportunity to sneak attack, you should do it. I only care about the entries, and winning or losing doesn't matter. I hope the goddess of fate will favor me. Oh, then let's get started. Zeno nodded, a little regretful that Li Ku had actually forgotten the previous battle. But thinking about it, he could burst out nearly 10 times the fighting power. He must have fallen into great emotional fluctuations, and it was natural to lose his fighting reason. Okay, let's start, Master Zeno. Li Ku said very friendly. Punch. Divine power red. Zeno saw the opportunity and blocked it with his hand. The powerful force was released, but it was far from what he received from Li Ku that day. Sure enough, this little guy can't fully control his burst of power. If he can really control his burst of power 123, then he is definitely a player comparable to Netero. It is hard to imagine that a little guy who is only in his teens can reach this level. It's really God chasing him to feed him. Then I will train this little guy well. Thoughts flashed through Zeno's mind. The two of them fought each other like they were acting, and he seemed to understand Li Ku's moves more and more. Obviously, Li Ku had not really learned to fight, but relied more on his instinctive intuition and strong physique. This kid is absolutely a true genius. If there is a real fighting master to train him, His future achievements will be limitless. It's almost over. Be careful, my friend. Zeno waved his sleeves, elegant and calm. Dragonhead Shihua. Of course. He deliberately suppressed his own strength. Not even 30%. He still remembered that Li Ku tore his move apart when he was rampaging, but now Li Ku was in a normal state, so he didn't dare to take too many risks. And Li Ku, the sixth man, had already shaken a gun before the big move. Divine Power red. Absolute will red. Thunder Psychic Power red. Thunder Fist Drum. Physical Skill double gold. Psychic Clone gold. Iron Plate Tang gold. Fiery red eyes open. Boom, in an instant. All of Li Ku's abilities were directly opened, which meant that thunder surged on his fist. Zeno's face changed suddenly. Damn, this kid is cheating me. He reacted instantly in his heart, but it was too late at this moment. Boom, at this moment, Li Ku was like a Vajra Buddha with lightning wrapped around his body, and his terrifying fist hit the dragon head Shihua head on. Zeno's proud moves were abruptly destroyed by the storm. Even if he continued to increase his output, it was too late. A trace of electric arc even emerged from the fist wind. The terrifying fist pressure made it very difficult for Zeno Zoldyck to move. The ground under his feet was cracking at a speed visible to the naked eye. But at least he was the strongest man standing in the entire human world. He roared, and his aura was also fully opened. He squatted slightly, and another dragon head appeared. Boom! But just as the dragon head appeared, Alika suddenly appeared next to him, also wrapped in lightning, like a thunder god of war. Two thunder gods of war. The Li Ku directly met Zeno's back dragon head, and the front Ji Ku broke the dragon head and came to meet him. Like a world-destroying killing god, a terrifying aura bloomed. Boom! A deafening explosion. The whole castle was shaking violently, as if it was killed by a war missile. Chapter 68, Conjurer Grandmaster Hong. Mind circle, go boom boom boom. The deafening sound even made the visitors think that the castle was going to collapse. What happened? The faces of the people present suddenly changed. The sound came from Grandpa. Killa was also stunned. Everyone hurried to the direction of Zeno Zoldyck and others. In the training ground, the two stood still. Lika's shirt exploded. These ordinary clothes and fabrics could not withstand the power of thunder at all. When Li Ku opened the continent, they had exploded into pieces. The perfect vest line, the muscles were streamlined like a cheetah. The black hair moved without wind. It was like a battlefield Shura killing god. But at this moment, the momentum dissipated and returned to normal. There was no wound on the old man. The two, just as they said, they had a friendly exchange. Of course, the premise is not to look at this training ground that was almost completely destroyed. A 100-meter-long gully burst out on the ground behind Li Ku, and all the bricks and stones along the way were overturned. The school was like a huge dragon head, sticking out from the ground. The wall behind Zeno had completely collapsed, and a terrifying fist mark of 30 meters appeared. This fist directly blew up the wall, but from the broken outline, it was vaguely felt that it seemed to be a fist mark. Unimaginable. What kind of battle did the two experience? Is this a friendly sparring? Gon and others were stunned. Am I not dreaming? Oh my god. This level of terrifying attack feels like it can even flatten a house. Leorio was extremely shocked. Too strong. It can be said that the battle between the two of them has completely exceeded the level of ordinary people. Incredible. Kurapika's eyes appeared a faint red, and his pupils shrank to the extreme. Unlike Gon and others, his observation ability is the best among all people. Just by looking at the dilapidated scenes in front of him, he could almost guess the battle scene just now. It must be that the old man used the strange dragon head ability, while Li Ku used his fists completely. The two terrifying beings like humanoid Tyrannosaurus Rex had a head-on confrontation. But as for the final result, he couldn't infer it because there were no scars on the two people's bodies. On the contrary, Li Ku looked more embarrassed because Li Ku's shirt had been completely shattered. At least the old man didn't seem to have any losses. Grandpa, Killua exclaimed in astonishment. Fatimi G. Loli Coludo, Ilmi and others also looked at it in a daze. The battle between the two was definitely a battle between the top human strengths, which completely refreshed everyone's concept of battle. The battles of others were definitely small fights, and only the battles between these two top beings were real battles between humanoid weapons. Father-in-law, father. The noble ladies Kikyo and Silva spoke at the same time. Silva had personally experienced the terrifying, destructive power of Liku, but he couldn't understand why Liku, who was not in a rampage, could use such a terrifying power. It seemed that his evaluation of Liku was not high enough. Ahem. It's okay. We were just having a friendly exchange. Liku. That's about it. You really open my eyes. Sometimes I envy Netero. Why is luck always on his side? Are you interested in learning our family's assassination technique? Zeno sighed. It would be great if he had discovered Liku first, instead of through Netero's relationship and his grandson's relationship. Then Liku's relationship with the family would be even closer. Huh? Grandpa, didn't you say that these skills of our family are not passed on to others? Killa was confused. As the top assassination family, these top skills passed down by the family will not be taught to the outside world. Only the direct bloodline of the family can practice, and the prerequisite is to have absolute talent for practice. For example, the Fat Man Miji, although he is also the family's bloodline, his practice talent is obviously unqualified, so he has no chance to learn the family's core assassination technique. Because once one's own strength is not enough, after learning the family's core assassination skills and falling into the hands of the enemy, it is very likely that the enemy will be tortured by words and deeds to obtain these family skills. Only true geniuses can practice, such as Illumi and Killua. This is the fundamental rule for the entire family to stand in this world. But now the real leader behind the family, Zeno Zoldyck, personally said that he wanted to give the family's assassination skills to another person. Of course, Killua did not refuse these. He was just very curious. The grandfather who always said what he meant actually made such a decision. Father-in-law, this is the core assassination technique of our family. It must not be passed on to others. Lady Kikyo was a little anxious. Fatimi G also looked at Liku nervously. You can say that Zeno was going to give this assassination technique to Liku, which meant that he had completely regarded Liku as his own. Can I say? Actually, I have learned the assassination technique of your family. It's just not very convenient to use. What's more, for me, I don't need to spend a long time to practice these skills hard. I just need to keep exploding the opponent's entries. That is the truly efficient way. I am a man with a system, so why would I choose such a primitive way of practice? Thank you for your kindness, old man. If there is a chance, I would be happy to ask for advice, but I am afraid I don't have time now. However, Killua is by my side, and I will ask him if I have time. Lee couldn't say too much, because now I already have the entry of this assassination technique, and the level is not low. Maybe I will suddenly use it someday. In order to solve unnecessary troubles, it would be more convenient to lay out the paintings in advance. Haha, that's right, Killua. From now on, I'll leave the family's core assassination techniques to you. Little friend Liku. Old man Zeno was stunned for a moment, and then his wrinkled face was almost blooming with a smile. Yes, Grandpa, Brother Liku, I will teach you all the assassination techniques I know. No, not teaching, but learning from each other. Killua blushed. With his strength, he dare not call Liku. After all, Liku is now a whole level higher than him. Ha ha, this is the best. Okay, let's go to the last dinner to welcome Liku and friends such as Miss, Leorio, and Kurapika, and celebrate that my grandson Killua has found his own direction, Zeno said with a smile. Liku was naturally in a very comfortable mood. He couldn't help but glance at his entry panel. There was a system record on it. Ding, you defeated Zeno Zoldyck in the battle posture, and there is a 10% probability of automatically copying the opponent's entry. Ding, you heard the strong luck duet. Strong luck takes effect. Ding, congratulations on successfully copying the entry. Conjurer Telekinesis Grandmaster, Red. Advanced Telekinesis Skill Telekinesis Circle, Gold. You already have Master Telekinesis Gold. Automatically absorb this entry. Conjurer Telekinesis Grandmaster Red entry upgrade. 2. Automatically merge related entries for you. At this moment, Li Ku is in a very good mood. Conjurer Master of Telekinesis. Red effect. You can have the Conjurer Telekinesis control standing at the top level of a human race. You can perfectly control this series of telekinesis and make creations. Telekinesis Circle Gold Effect. The telekinesis circle is formed by expanding the telekinesis outward from the center of itself to form a circular aura area. You have a very high talent for circles, ha 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 ha. But now everyone is present. Li Ku even has an excited impulse to roar to the sky. This is absolutely too cool to hear a lucky duet. The strong luck entry is definitely my lucky star. It's a pity that there are too few things in this world that have luck-related entries. It's almost difficult to encounter them. It's a rare existence. With a 10% probability, I scraped off 2 entries, one of which is a red entry. Master of Telekinesis. Compared to Hisoka's Telekinesis Master, it's a step up. There's also a high-level Telekinesis Skill Circle. Directly a gold achievement. You know, the Fuso swordsman in the brigade, whose name is what, has a range of only a few meters, while Zeno Zoldyck has a range of 300 meters. Of course, that's the result of his training. Now Li Ku's gold represents his talent in this area. However, with Li Ku's rich background, his circle range in the future will only be higher than Zeno's. I have to say that the Zoldyck family is really my treasure house. I have to come back to brush it more when I have time in the future, and it's best to wait until this kind of battle cools down. The banquet was very lively, including the black girl housekeeper at the time, as well as Wudong and others. It can be said that the whole family is celebrating. Lord Li Ku, I didn't expect that you would eventually become a partner of our family. I'm the housekeeper Wudong. Please notify me when you come next time. Wudong saluted Li Ku very gentlemanly. And me, Lord Li Ku, thank you for that. The black girl also knew that Li Ku had helped the noble Lady Kikyo for her, and she was grateful. No problem, by the way, Canaria. Can I ask you for something? Li Ku suddenly thought of something and said, Of course, Lord. If there is anything within my ability, I will definitely do it for you. You are a guest of the family and a friend of the young master. Canaria nodded quickly. Lord Zeno, I hope to borrow your Canaria for a while. Is it convenient? Li Ku suddenly said, Of course, Canaria. You will follow Li Ku for this period of time, and you must meet any of his orders. Yes, Lord. Li Ku, if you like Canaria, I can give her to you. Zeno said friendly. Canaria was even more expectant. It is her lifelong blessing to be favored by a top powerhouse like Li Ku. Zeno Zoldyck, Silva, and others were hoping that Li Ku would take a fancy to this trainee butler. As long as Li Ku had more thousands of years with the family's position would be more stable in the event of any unrest in the future. They were extremely optimistic about Li Ku, especially Zeno. Others had no idea that they were defeated in the training ground, but this little guy could actually control himself and burst out 10 times the fighting power at will. The opponent's punch did not fall, but he had already been defeated. Zeno understood that there was no need to verify that Li Ku would definitely replace Netero as the strongest person in the human race in the future. He even believed that Li Ku now had a fighting power that was not inferior to Netero. Of course, he was in a 10-fold fighting posture, but Li Ku was still so young now, and his future lifespan would definitely exceed 200 years or even longer like Netero. It was unimaginable how far and how high such a demon-like existence would go in the future. It was the greatest blessing for the Zoldyck family to have such an ally who defied the heavens. It's okay, it's just some small things. I will let Canaria come back after a while. Li Ku explained. Hearing this, the black girl's beautiful eyes flashed a little sad, and then she became excited again. No matter what, at least she can become Li Ku's servant, which is also the greatest luck. The banquet is over. With everyone's farewell, Killua and Canaria joined the team, and Jiku led everyone away, including Zeno and Silva. All the family members have been seeing Li Ku off all the way. After they arrived at the foot of the mountain and arrived at the location of the Huang, Haoli Zhao, Spring Gate, they watched Li Ku leave and stopped. Alas, times have changed. Zeno suddenly sighed. Ilmi, you should stay at home to practice during this period and also say hello to our intelligence agencies around the world. At any time, You must try your best to protect Liku and his friends, and refuse to accept any commissions related to them, no matter what the price is. Zeno ordered. Ilmi responded in silence. He understood. His life goals will also change. Liku will become a terrifying mountain in his life, and it is very likely that he will spend his whole life trying to climb the peak. Father-in-law, why did Liku take Canario away? The noblewoman Kikyo asked curiously. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Don't try to explore Liku's secrets. This is a good thing for you and for our entire family. Anything that happened here these days, all of you must not disclose it to the outside world. This is an order. Go back, Silva. You should also practice further. When Killua comes back next time, you should grow to a height that surprises us. Zeno glanced at his daughter-in-law, put his hands behind his back, sighed, and turned around. Kikyo's face changed slightly and sighed. As long as Killua is safe, then Liku is really a demon. Silva and others also turned and left. Although he is the patriarch of the family in public, he is only a minor king. When Zeno is present, his father is the major king. But Canaria? Why was she taken away? Meteor Street? Silva's heart moved slightly, and he had a very strong premonition. I am afraid that in the future, Meteor Street will usher in a huge change. Chapter 69, Thunder Beast Red. Kurapika, I asked Grandpa about the troop. Killua suddenly said, Trouble. Killua, I know, don't worry, there will be a major auction in Ukexin City on September 1st. According to the information Grandpa and his friends have, Phantom Troop is very likely to appear in this city. Ukexin City? You mean the largest auction in the world? Liurio was surprised. Kurapika's eyes changed. It can be said that the purpose of his trip was to pay back Phantom Troop. The information he got now was naturally clear. In fact, after the Zoldyck family confirmed their alliance with Liku, they took the initiative to reveal this information to Kurapika, which was also a gesture of goodwill. Well, there will be at least 50,000 participants in that auction, but the members of the troop usually act in groups. Kurapika, Killua was still ready to speak. Thank you, Killua and Brother Kuganliurio. I think we can say goodbye here temporarily. I will go to Ukexin City first. Don't worry, I won't be so reckless as to cause trouble to their entire brigade alone. After all, I'm not strong enough now. My current plan is to find a job and make money as a formal lover. Kurapika explained. In order to avenge his people, he was under tremendous pressure. With a calm character, he naturally would not choose the stupidest way because of his emotions. Go, follow your own ideas, Kurapika, but don't choose to face the brigade alone. Liku suddenly spoke. Brother Ku? Kurapika looked at Liku in astonishment. We are friends. In half a year, we will meet in Ukexin City. At that time, I will help you complete your revenge. Liku's voice was very calm, but in Kurapika's ears, it was still Jinglei. Kurapika's eyes suddenly turned red, and he even wanted to kneel down to thank Liku. He knew that with Liku's participation, the possibility of his revenge would become extremely high. Liku's current strength is absolutely amazing. If the two of them work together to deal with the members of the brigade, they will definitely be able to do it. But if this is the case, Brother Ku will also be involved in this dispute. This is my own business, Digeo. Kurapika wanted to speak, but his words were stopped by Liku. Brother, the Phantom Troop guys are the top talents from Meteor Street. Apart from anything else, the entries on them are absolutely enviable. If I deal with them myself, even if I kill them, it will be considered as eliminating harm for the people, and there will be no psychological burden. By the way, I can help Kurapika to get revenge. Isn't this killing 3 birds with 1 stone? We are friends. Friends is agreed. Whether it's you, Kurapika, Killua, Liurio, Gon, and Canaria, we are all friends. Liku patted Kurapika's shoulder. My system is destined that I can only have a way out if I live with the separated. Gon and his group are the lucky ones of this world. As their strength increases in the later stages, the items will evolve. When the cooldown of the battle stance is over, repeat the brushing. Keep brushing all the items. We are friends. Brother, you're my treasure trove of items. Of course, there are feelings. At least Kurapika and other guys are indeed friends in this world. Brother Ko, woo, so touching. We are friends for life. Kurapika. Gon was so moved that tears welled up in his eyes. Brother Ko, from now on, you'll be my big brother for life. Leorio was so moved that he burst into tears. Killua's eyes were also wet, and Canaria felt the feeling of friendship for the first time. So this is friendship. For the sake of friendship, you can even give up your life to protect each other. This is what friends are. Canaria was shocked. This was the first time in her life that she felt truly protected. Okay, Brother Ko, thank you. I don't know how to repay your kindness, but I will remember your kindness in this life. I'm leaving, my friends. See you in half a year. See you in half a year. Kurapika, have a safe journey. I'm leaving too, Brother Ko, and everyone else. I got my hunter license, and I plan to go back to my hometown. I still can't let go of my dream of becoming a doctor. If I get into a public medical school, I won't have to pay such high tuition fees. I'm going back to study hard. Leorio took out his hunter license. His dream is to become a doctor. Wish you success, Leorio. Liku smiled. Keep going. Leorio, I'm counting on you. Yeah, Leorio also chose to leave. Brother Kusib, where are we going? Gon, Killua, and Canaria looked at Liku. Everyone present had already regarded Liku as the boss. But in terms of strength and knowledge, Liku was indeed the boss who deserved it. We're almost out of money. Is there any place to make money? Liku rubbed his chin and asked. Indeed, although he got the 2-star hunter license, the old man Netero didn't give him any cash. This thing can be sold for money, but it can't be used as money. And according to the expected development, this good place can be used to brush entries. Sky Arena, I know. You can make a lot of money here. Let's go, Brother Cook. And this place can also help us practice. But even if we take an airship to go there, it will take 2 days. Killis' eyes lit up. Then let's take the airship. We probably won't have much money left after buying the ticket. Liko looked at his pocket. A good cook cannot cook without rice. When he came here, he forgot to ask old man Zeno for money. Cough, cough, cough. Maybe he won't give it to him, or maybe he forgot. The few of them are now professional lovers, but their pockets are cleaner than their faces. I have money, Lord Liku. Master Killua. Canary on the side whispered and took out her purse. This is my salary card. Lord Liku, please accept it. Give me the salary card. Liku smiled bitterly and handed the black girl's salary card back. Take it yourself. When we get to the Sky Arena, there will be plenty of money. Your money will be useful in the future. Meteor Street. That's why Liku is looking for Canaria. She was born in Meteor Street. But now, of course, we should go to the nearest copy first. On the spaceship. Brother Ki. What was the move you used to defeat Killua's father in his house before? So powerful. Gon, Killua, and Canaria came over. This kid has a really long reaction time. He only remembered to ask me this question now. Telekinesis. To be precise, this thing is a special ability. Canaria, you should also have it. Liku explained. He even has a red telekinesis master entry on him now. But the problem is, Liku is not the material to be a teacher. On the contrary, it is not as easy to understand as Canaria's explanation. It's a pity. Now Gon and Killua have not yet comprehended telekinesis. So it is a little difficult to understand what Canaria said about telekinesis. Don't worry. You should be able to comprehend it soon. Liku had a headache and handed the 100,000 Ys to Canaria. After all, it was just a question of telekinesis basics, and Canaria was enough to deal with the two little guys. He returned to his room. But at this moment, his eyes flickered. In the hunter world, telekinesis is almost equivalent to an omnipotent ability. Some guys can even develop this ability to reverse time, which is really exaggerated. One of the most peculiar abilities is the telekinesis beast. Now, I already have a telekinesis clone, and I also have a Grandmaster level telekinesis red entry. It seems that I can try to develop some telekinesis skills of my own. Liku sat down at the door of the room and took a deep breath. In his mind, the relevant information of all the entries emerged. When these entries were obtained, the system sent all of Jin Jinxiangmi's memories and some experience of cultivation to the area at the same time. That is to say, the original owner of these entries worked hard for a lifetime and all the experience and insights accumulated will become Li Ku's. Now his achievements in telekinesis are definitely at the Grandmaster level. A ball of lightning emerged in the palm of Li Ku's hand. This lightning seemed to have breathing, a strange cocoon beating with his heartbeat. Sure enough, it works. The so-called Mind Beast is actually the control of mind power. Whether it is Biscuit's beautician or other mind beasts, they are all created based on this. The essential difference lies in the way the mind power circulates. Just like ordinary people build houses with sand, but some people use sand to make glass at high temperature, and some people even extract other elements from sand to make high explosive missiles, etc. The same essence, different methods and processes will have different results. Lee could try to integrate some ideas and thoughts of the clone technique and mind beasts. As his mind power continued to flow in, the beating thunder cocoon beat like a heart. Then a trace of veins was outlined. It was a human figure, a human-shaped mind beast, constructed by Li Ku himself. And after the construction was completed, he had a very wonderful feeling. 014512328 Faloo 0333111. It was like this was not an ordinary mind beast. It was more like an extension of his arm and an extension of his perception. He could actually share the other party's vision, sense of smell, 5 senses and 6 consciousnesses, and even easily send out a ray of consciousness to control this mind beast. Ding! Congratulations on your ability to create your own ability by combining the strengths of hundreds of schools of thought with your own ideas. Thunder Mind Beast. Red, a sound like the sound of nature rang in Li Ku's mind. This figure finally took shape. 2 days later, the airship arrived at the Sky Arena. This thing is the 4th tallest building in the world, with 251 floors and a maximum height of 991 meters. Wow, so many people. Are they here to participate in this arena too? After getting off the airship, Li Ku and his companions walked into the Sky Arena and saw a long queue. Unlike the Hunter test, there are strict rules here. You just need to defeat the opponent. The bonus will also increase as you climb the levels. This is the holy land of barbarians. Killua explained, because he has been here before and achieved very good results, he is quite familiar with this place. Li Ku and the other 3 are here for the first time, and they are still quite curious about everything around them. Especially Li Ku, his eyes are shining at this moment, looking at the black crowd in front of him. Those who can come to the arena are naturally strong, including many professional hunters. However, what disappointed Li Ku was that at a glance, most of them were white, green, and blue entries, and there were a few good ones. I don't know how many white and green entries you have to accumulate. It's quite a headache, and naturally it's not within Li Ku's consideration. As for the lucky type of entries, I didn't see them. Everyone, it seems that this is your first time to come to the Sky Arena. Please fill in your relevant information here, and please go to the side after filling the information. The receptionist spoke softly and handed over several forms to everyone. Li Ku and others looked at the forms sent over. They just filled in other basic information related to identity information and did the most common survey. Among the materials handed over, there was also a basic rule manual for the arena. It clearly stated some matters that should be paid attention to in this Sky Arena, as well as the rules for 4 matches with opponents. In the Sky Arena, where only Saints can advance, an average of 4,000 people challenge higher levels every day. More than 1 billion viewers enter the arena every year. There are all kinds of measures in the arena. High-level warriors can even have an entire floor. After seeing that several people were professional hunters, the receptionist even specially led the way for several people. What a pity. The good-looking receptionist was dressed in blank entries. Please go this way. In this building, the levels up to the 200th floor are based on hours. That is to say, the fighters who win on the 50th floor can go to the 60th floor. If they lose, they will fall to the 40th floor. As long as you pass the 100th floor, you will have a private room. Below is the arena. I wish you all the best. The receptionist took them to the arena area. The bottom floor of the arena is like a huge funnel. The surroundings are all spectator stands, which are full of people. Below are more than a dozen arenas for competition. Because Li Ku and his friends are newcomers, they all start from the first floor. From a first to the 251st floor, a total of 26 battles are required, which means that there are at most 26 opportunities to brush entries. But according to the 10% probability of defeating the opponent, the benefits are not great. Fortunately, if the opponent does not choose to surrender in this sky arena, he can even be killed directly. No responsibility will be held. It is also good news. But even so, if one person wins in a row, he can only defeat 20 opponents, and at low levels, the strength of those opponents must be quite poor. I am afraid that only opponents above 100 levels can produce some good entries. These do not seem to be too much trouble for Liku, because Liku's mind moved slightly. Suddenly, a few hundred meters away from him, in an inconspicuous place in the stadium, a heart of thunder appeared one by one, and quickly took shape and turned into a human figure. Thunder Beast Red. This is the exclusive ability developed by Liku and the leaders of the 100 schools after he came to this world. Something similar to a shadow clone, but it can change into various forms. What good day soon? This arena will also succumb to my throne. Ha ha ha. Liku laughed wildly in his heart. Thunder Beast Grimjow Jakich. Thunder Beast Ulquiora Cipher. Thunder Beast Satama, Chapter 70 Fish Pond Bureau. Frying fish, unfortunately. Even Liku can only control 3 mind beasts at most, and the current action range of the mind beasts is only about 10 kilometers. Once this distance is exceeded, the mind power circulation structure in the mind beasts will decline and then dissipate. As a user, Liku can share the 5 senses and 6 consciousnesses with these mind beasts, and can exchange positions with the mind beasts. This is the real red entry skill. It is equivalent to Liku having a few more clones, and they could still die for him. As a time traveler, he naturally has to play more. After Liku modified the Mind Bullet obtained from the Zoldyck family, it can naturally become the Black Void Flash of the 10 Blades. You just need to keep using the clones to brush the entries. Registration office. Excuse me, what's your name? The lady at the front desk looked nervously at the man with short blue hair, a white half mask on his face, and a fierce aura like a beast. Oh, the Thunder Beast Grimjow Jagajek. Leopard King Liku sneered at the stage lady, grinning and showing his white teeth, and swept the audience with a very provocative look. What a fierce look. This looks very strong. Leopard King Liku's eyes made the other contestants' faces change slightly. And Liku, who had transferred his identity, felt very good to control Leopard King Grimjow. It's fun to play with the skin. It's not me, Liku, who killed people. I'm a 5-year-old. It's Grimjow, the pervert, who killed people. Tisk, do you want to fight with me? You're welcome at any time, but remember to take your life with you. Leopard King, Liku laughed wildly. He wished someone would be provoked to cause trouble, so that he could kill people without restraint. What a pity. There are not many idiots coming. Generally speaking, these idiots were basically just low-level entries, which were boring to him. What a pity, but it was good. Through Grimjow's identity, Liku got the second ticket. With this ability of the Mind Beast, he might be able to create a force of his own. X. The core members are all his Mind Beasts, and the next level members can recruit some strong people in this world. Tut tut tut. After all, when he stands at the top of this world, the entire hunter world will become a livestock farm that provides him with entries continuously. Of course, as a moral traverser, Liku will still try his best to maintain the original peaceful order and will not carry out large-scale killings. A gentleman loves money and gets it in a proper way. Your name? At the front desk, a full 10 meters of space was directly vacant, and everyone looked at the strange man standing at the front desk with horror. Black-winged demon Ulquiora. Of course, he was in normal state, wearing a white 10 blades outfit, with his hands in his pockets and a thin sword on his waist. His face was expressionless, but the dark green tear marks on his face made everyone understand that this guy was definitely not a normal person, especially the transparent black hole on his neck. FK. This guy has a hole in his neck. How can he still be alive? With such an injury, even a monster would die. Monster? Damn it. Why do I feel that he is very similar to the guy with short blue hair before? Both of them have this strange white bone mask. Could they be from the same place? Stay away. This guy is definitely not easy to mess with. It must be said that Ulquiorra's expressionless face is even more intimidating. There's a hollow on his neck and tear marks on his face, which looks like facial paralysis. In this hunter world, the more weird the expression, the more capable the person is. The weaker the person, the sooner he will be killed. Sir, please write down your name. The front desk lady's voice trembled, and she didn't even dare to look at Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu Liku wrote down his information directly. Ulquiorra. Then he joined the team on the first floor. Another window. Yellow combat suit, red underwear worn outside, red cape, shiny bald head, boiled egg head. The style is quite simple, similar to the appearance of a silly man with 5-cent special effects. No way. This guy can also come to participate in the competition. I see that this guy is skinny and has no muscles at all. It would be great if I could match this guy as my opponent. There are people who come to the arena every day to try their luck. Many people are very interested in this boiled egg head. For people with low scores, luck is also very important for ranking. Sometimes, luck is very good, and the opponents you meet will have problems one after another. The ranking will rise directly. Of course, if you get a higher ranking, it is basically determined by your strength. Sir, may I ask your name? The receptionist at another registration window said politely. Oh, my name is Kiyu. Do you have a supermarket sale this Saturday? Boiled egg Headlika scratched his head and said cutely. It's really interesting. I was wearing a small roll and talking to others. I was dressed as Saitama in another world and was mocked by someone. Everyone was shocked that the boiled egghead was the big devil. Various books emerged in Liku's mind. He can transfer his body to control Saitama, or he can let the mind beast act freely. However, the mind beasts that act freely are stupider. They don't have real consciousness in essence, and they can only recover and operate according to the implanted mind power circulation structure. So, the mind beast is more about considering Li Ku's ability to do multiple things at the same time. The problem is not big but full of fun. The bad taste of controlling puppets. In the arena, player number 10086. Please prepare for battle. In the arena, the referee's voice sounded. Li Ku and others were assigned to the Q Zone arena on the first floor. Li Ku's opponent is a guy who looks big and strong, with muscles all over his body and hideous scars on his face. Name, Yamashina entries. Strong, blue, powerful blue, close combat, green, irritable green, etc. Although it is a first floor area, there are indeed some good entries. At least the big guy in front of him looks good. Wow, it's that B D Yamashina. If I remember correctly, he fought to the 100th floor and was defeated when he reached the 110th floor. That kid is unlucky to encounter such a monster. Damn, it's another fish pond game. It's disgusting that a master comes to fry fish. Fortunately, I didn't encounter it. I'm afraid that kid will be traumatized by the beating. This can't be blamed on others. Since he chose to come here to compete, he must be prepared to fail. Although he is a newcomer, there are many spectators in each ring area. After seeing Li Ku's opponent, some sharp-eyed spectators couldn't help but exclaimed, "Ah, did you hear me? Little brat, I'm in a good mood today. Just kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times, and I'll let you go. I'm a master above the 100th level, and I'm here to attack the 200th level." The strong man named Shanka grinned. "Ah, if you kneel down and kowtow 3 times, I'll consider being gentle." Lika sighed helplessly. There are all kinds of birds in the forest, but I didn't expect that I would encounter such a mentally retarded guy. Can we start? Referee. Lika looked in the direction of the referee impatiently. Hearing this, the strong man's face turned red with anger, and his muscles and veins bulged all over his body. With his exaggerated body and muscles, he looks like a flood beast, and his appearance is still quite intimidating. At least in the world of ordinary people, he can definitely be regarded as a top fighter. Of course, but please be careful. The referee trembled and spoke quickly. Go to hell. Kid. The strong man Shanku roared like a roaring tank and smashed his huge fist directly at Li Ku's head. He had decided to teach Li Ku a lesson. Some soft-hearted spectators in the nearby audience even closed their eyes, unable to bear to see Li Ku being beaten and bleeding. Bang, the huge fist fell directly in front of Li Ku, but was blocked by a small hand. The two people were completely disproportionate in height and size. The current state was nearly 3 meters tall, while Li Ku was only a normal 1.7 meters. And the opponent's arm was thicker than Li Ku's thigh. But at this moment, his 4-stage fist was lightly received by Li Ku. Very weak, so. Li Ku commented with a dull look. Damn it, the sturdy man wanted to get mad, but Li Ku was too lazy to waste time with him and pushed him lightly with his palm. Bang, in the extremely shocked eyes of everyone. This sturdy man who looked like a meat mountain flew backwards heavily and hit the wall in the distance. The extremely hard wall collapsed at this moment, and the sturdy man was embedded in it and had completely fainted. Ding! You defeated Shan Ku, and there is a 10% chance to control the opponent's entry. Please give me flowers. 0 ding. Copy failed. The system prompt sounded in Li Ku's mind. Headache. What a garbage. This kid. Pervert. How can he be so strong? That's Shan Ku. This I can only say that Shan Ku is unlucky. I didn't expect that this kid is actually a hidden master. Even the protective wall collapsed due to the collision. I'm afraid the strength of this kid is at least above 100 levels. More than 100 liters, it may reach 150 or even higher. The audience nearby was stunned, and even the players in other arenas changed their expressions slightly. It was like a king suddenly dropped from the bronze game. He also made a coquettish operation. This group of noobs were stunned. But at this moment, Li Ku was not in the mood to pay attention to the thoughts of these noobs because he was very busy. Mind beast transfer. In an instant, Li Ku's consciousness appeared on the bodies of other mind beasts. Leopard King Lao Lu. A grab and kill instantly defeated the opponent. Ding! Congratulations on defeating Kai Bao in the battle posture. 10% probability of copying the opponent's entry. Ding! Copy failed. Smash! Try Saitama again, this time without transfer. Directly control the mind beast to fight remotely. There was a loud bang on the first level ring. One Punch Man Saitama punched his opponent away, but no system prompt sounded. Sure enough, if you don't do your own professionalism, you can't activate the system. It seems that it's still a hard life. You must transfer your consciousness at the moment of defeating or killing the opponent. Xiao Wu draws his sword. The heart of an arrogant murderer opponent in front of him was pierced. In this Sky Arena, there is no restriction on any participants, whether they are criminals or professional hunters. So this also led to the fact that the Sky Arena is mixed with good and bad people, and it has become a gray area. So there's not much psychological burden to kill people here. What's more, the murderer directly drew his sword against Xiao Wu. So, ding. Congratulations on killing the arena player Zidu. Ding. Congratulations on automatically looting the entries Dagger Mastery, blue, poison, green, irritability, green, ding, irritability, green, automatic crushing. A sound like the sound of nature rang out in Li Ku's mind. Xiao Wu's sword drawing also caused a brief commotion in the arena in his area, but it was quickly calmed down. In this Sky Arena, death is the most common thing. However, since Xiao Wu and Li Ku were not far from the arena, they were also seen by Killua and Gon. What a dangerous guy. Even at the moment of killing the opponent, there was no emotional fluctuation. Killua's pupils shrank, and he felt unprecedented solemnity. He was once a master who planned to reach the 200th floor. He was thrown here by his family when he was 6 years old. He had to reach the 200th floor before he could leave. This process took him 2 years. Now, after a few years, he came back here and found that everything was still familiar. But now, Killua felt everything was so strange again. The man with the sword in the distance gave him a very dangerous feeling. The battle between Gon and Killua also ended in one move, stunning the audience. Sir, based on your performance, we decided to send you directly to the 50th floor. If you need any help, please tell us. A staff member ran over with sweat dripping down his face and spoke to Li Ku and his friends with great respect. Killua had been to the 200th floor, and Li Ku and Gon showed combat power far beyond this level, so there was no need to stay here to fry fish. As for Canaria, She followed everyone as a maid. The group was sent directly to the 50th floor. Ding. The elevator door opened. Hello. My name is Zoosi. I am very honored to meet you. In the battle just now, I have noticed you. Your contempt is really eye-opening. Suddenly, a little boy's voice came from behind. Liko turned his head and looked. His eyes lit up instantly, and even his face showed an unprecedented excitement. A short-haired little boy wearing a kung fu outfit appeared. Zoosi. What really surprised Liku was the entry on the other party. Name: Zoosi entries. Super Perseverance, double gold. Emitter Telekinesis Talent, double purple. Heart Source Boxing, blue. Perseverance, blue. Lucky Guy, purple, etc. P.S. Friends who like this book can subscribe automatically, which is also a support for us. The quality is absolutely guaranteed. Chapter 71, Lucky, Star Gold. Designated drop. Yoshi. It's really a case of looking for something without any effort. I didn't expect to see the lucky talent again in this little boy. And this little guy has the purple lucky talent as soon as he appears. And he also has double gold for Super Perseverance. A very rare entry. It must be said that he must be a person favored by fate, a real son of luck. Interesting. It's mouth-watering. I'm gone. Please teach me. This is Brotherly Ko. And this is Killua. Gon introduced familiarly, because these little guys look about the same age, and this little boy is even younger than Gon. As peers, everyone will naturally be closer instinctively, and their performance in the novice field just now was the most eye-catching. All of them were able to resolve the battle within a week. Little boy Zoosi seemed very surprised. He didn't expect to see someone about his age in this sky arena, and the fighting power shown by the opponent was also amazing. This naturally made him realize that these peers were equally talented. Hello. Liku also smiled and greeted, and Gon and the others were chatting enthusiastically. Smashed the little boy. Forced his entry? This thought flashed through Liku's mind. However, as a normal person, he was not crazy enough to become a slave to the system and do whatever it takes to become stronger. Of course, some small tricks are okay. Get out of here, little devil. Suddenly, a very unfriendly voice came from behind Zoosi. When he turned around to look, he saw the arrogant old six. Grimjow. Mind Beast. Liku is of course a good guy, but the bad guy is old six Grimjow. Police. 040. Blast one before the other party could react. Leopard King old six jumped out with one kick. Little boy Zoosi had no time to react and was kicked away. Little guy, I hope your luck is not too bad. Lika prayed in his heart. If this fighting posture cannot produce the desired attributes, I might consider other methods. It takes a cooldown to leave the battle and swipe this thing again, but the cooldown time for each target is different. For example, Gon and Killua, after the attributes were swiped out at the beginning, Lika tried to fight against them and defeated them, but the system gave a battle cooldown prompt. It hurts. But fortunately, the attributes I want have basically been swiped out, so it doesn't matter. Ding. You defeated Sky Arena player Zoosi in the battle posture. Ding. 10% chance to automatically copy the opponent's entry. Ding. You heard the echo of strong luck. Ding. You heard the resonance of strong luck. Ding. Congratulations on automatically copying the target entry. Lucky, purple, it is detected that this entry and strong luck belong to the same series of entries and can be merged and automatically merge for you. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining the special entry. Lucky Star, gold. The sound of nature sounded in the organization's mind. Perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Although Emitter's purple telekinetic talent makes me feel a little hot, I still want this lucky entry the most. It's so comfortable. Wait. Looking at the system prompt, it seems that this time I got this entry not by chance. It's the mutual resonance between the two lucky entries. Then can I understand it as? It's very likely that my luck value exceeds that of this little boy, so I can directly plunder the other party's luck. Of course, these don't matter, because the lucky entry has been obtained and promoted to a new entry. Entry. Lucky Star, gold description. Your luck is extremely strong. With this entry, your hidden luck value will be greatly improved, and you can specify a drop once a day. No limit on defeating or killing the moment Li Ku saw the information of this entry. He felt his brain buzzing. Perfect. It's so perfect. This entry is simply tailor-made for his system. It can be said that the appearance of the Lucky Star entry directly makes up for his biggest weakness. Because defeating a target does not guarantee the entry, you must consider killing it, which pushes Li Ku into a murderous maniac. But now the appearance of the new lucky entry has allowed Ji Ku to see more possibilities. This entry can not only increase your hidden luck value, you can even specify a drop once with 100%, and the cooldown time is once a day. It's so cool. For me, this cooldown time is unlimited. Defeating one person every day is so comfortable. Even in the Sky Arena, not all entries are what Li Ku wants. Killing the target can read 100%, but defeating the target only has 10%. But now with this Lucky Star entry, it means that once you encounter the desired entry, you can defeat the target within one day and specify the drop directly. The ability will be refreshed on the second day. It's so cool. Perfect. Ha 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 ha. Grimjow Li Ku couldn't help but cover his face and laughed excitedly. This guy is so arrogant. Too cruel. He didn't even let children go. Don't say anything too cruel. Who can come here is not a cruel person. I hope I won't be matched with this lunatic. After seeing this scene, the other competitors nearby couldn't help but step back a few steps. No one would take the initiative to stand up and act as a hero or a good person. On the contrary, Gon and Killua gnashed his teeth at this moment, and the black girl protected Li Ku tightly, obviously thinking that the old six in front of them was a very dangerous person. Hee hee, do you guys want to fight? Leopard King Li Ku grinned and looked at a few people, but unfortunately their time was still cooling down and they could not refresh this bar for the time being. But the character setting cannot be broken. Mind beasts are for outsiders to see, and different mind beasts need different personalities. I just need to act according to the personality of the Leopard King. And Li Ku's definition of the old six is to attract hatred. And it will be best if there are many guys who can't stand all this and want to come and make trouble for me. Then I just have an excuse to kill them all. Haha, refresh the entry. Xiaowu is also a killing personality. As for Saitama, let's just play soy sauce for now. Maybe consider letting him stay permanently in the future. Of course, the premise of permanent residence is that the ability, research, and development of one's mind beast has achieved a breakthrough, and the control distance is longer, the endurance is longer, etc. Cough, cough, cough. Stop it. Zoosi fell down from the wall, holding his stomach, and stood up with difficulty, staring at Grimjow, asking Gon and others to stop. This is my business. Please don't affect others. May I ask, why did you kick me just now? Zoosi wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. Oh, you blocked my way? Kicking you is not a problem, right? Grimjow Li Ku laughed arrogantly. That expression was almost like putting his face up and letting others hit him. But if someone wants to come over and slap him in the face, then Li Ku will naturally have a reason to kill the other party. No one wants too many entries, and of course the entries that are delivered to the door are taken. T-Tech. Unexpectedly, Zoosi actually covered his stomach and looked deeply at Grimjow Li Ku, then turned and made way. Deck. Li Ku looked at him unexpectedly. I didn't expect that this little guy would be so patient. Grimjow Li Ku also grinned and turned away. Zoosi, why are you? Gon and Killua didn't understand. Zoosi shook his head, his eyes full of fear and caution. This guy is too strong, far beyond us. If we provoke him, it will definitely be a big trouble. There is no need. He gritted his teeth. Only those who had just touched this kick could feel the power of the other party. Completely above himself, he didn't want to affect the few friends he just made because of this matter. I have to say that in terms of character, the little Shota is still very good. Very good, Zoosi. A clear voice suddenly came from the corner. It was a young man wearing a white shirt and trousers, wearing glasses, and looking gentle and refined. At this moment, the man was smiling, looking at the little Shota Zoosi, showing a very satisfied look. Acting master, Zoosi called excitedly, even forgetting the pain in his stomach. Sir, over there, please wait a moment. Wing called Grimjow Li Ku. Oh, hee hee. Li Ku, who was standing in the back, had a slightly brightened eye. This business is coming. Ha ha ha. The big and small are here, the old are here. It's really a set. I like it very much. Name: Wing Entries. Enhancer Telekinesis Master, Gold. Heart Source Fist, Gold. Teaching and Teaching, Gold. Justice, Gold. Nervous, Purple. Patience, Purple, etc. Very gorgeous entries. At a glance, they're almost a series of golden entries. Of course, there don't seem to be many entries that can really serve as combat power, and more of them are other additional attribute bonuses. The one in front of me is the famous Wing, Gon and Killua's telekinetic guide, the disciple of Biscuit, the master of Zoosi. This guy should be very strong. The golden entry, if placed in ordinary people, is 1 in a million, but in front of Li Ku. Sorry. The golden entry can only be considered as medium quality among all the entries of Li Ku. He has many double gold entries, even red and black, but using Wing's entry is really good. Which one I need to specify? Enhancer Telekinesis Gold. Add the talent first, and the skills of the Heart Source Boxing can be solved later. It is very rare to encounter a golden talent. What? Are you going to avenge this brat? Fight here or go to the ring? Grimjow Lick said with some anticipation. Revenge? No, you may have misunderstood. I hope you can tell me your name. I am Zoosi's Master Wing. If I have the chance, I will ask you for advice. As a master, I will not let my disciples be bullied and do nothing. Wing said very gentlemanly. Grimjow Lick said with some anticipation. Revenge? No, you may have misunderstood. I hope you can tell me your name. I am Zoosi's Master Wing. If I have the chance, I will ask you for advice. As a master, I will not let my disciples be bullied and do nothing. Wing said very gentlemanly. Rimjo, number 7291. Coward. Grimjow Lick complained and walked away. Wing said nothing more, but let him go. Zoosi, show me your injuries. No danger, it seems. Mr. Grimjow kept. Wing lifted up the boy's clothes and took a look, then his frown relaxed. Holding back, but he was almost kicked to death by Zoosi. Gon couldn't understand. Grimjow is very strong. This man must be able to reach more than 200 floors. Zoosi, you still have a long way to go in your practice, and the setback you suffered this time is just a small episode. If you want to become a real strong man, you need to face all kinds of difficulties and problems. If you want to take revenge for the injuries you suffered today, I hope you can reach more than 200 floors first. Wing began to teach Zoosi on the spot. Yes, acting master, I will definitely work harder. More than 200 floors. To deal with Grimjow. Zoosi's fighting spirit was high immediately, and he seemed to not care about the injury he had just suffered. Trust Wing very much. Gon and Killua were confused by this scene, and Li Ku was also slightly surprised. It is worthy of the entry of Teaching and Learning Gene. Yingu, this guy, is born to be an excellent teacher. Talent. Real talent. And the key is Gon and Killua's awakening of telekinesis. Lika felt that this matter should be handed over to the good man in front of him. Although he has many entries, he is really not good at teaching and learning, and he doesn't want to be good at this thing. Let's take one step at a time. If Wing doesn't teach Gon and the others what to read, Li Ku considered teaching himself and actually asked Canaria to give guidance on the way here. But it's obvious. The black girl has telekinesis, but when asked to explain the reason, she was confused and made people laugh bitterly. Very good. Zoosi, just keep this mentality and belief. Only in this way can you become stronger and never give up. Zoosi. Wing encouraged loudly. Yes, acting master. Zoosi stood at attention and said loudly. DB. Lika suddenly felt that these two guys were a bit like the master and apprentice of Konoha's Kanglen Beast. Sorry, I made you laugh. What are your names? Wing noticed Li Ku and his friends and said very gentlemanly. Li Ku. Gon. Li Ku is our big brother. Killa. Canaria. Several people introduced themselves. Wing, thank you for wanting to help Zoosi just now. I will remember this kindness in my heart. We should meet again. Goodbye, everyone. Wing smiled and said goodbye to Li Ku and his friends, and Zoosi also bowed and left. Alas, what a pity. The moving entry is gone. Otherwise, let Grimjow beat up Wing or Xiaowu. Forget it. There's a long time to come. If I remember correctly, this guy is the secret instructor of the association, responsible for teaching the use of telekinesis. We still need him to teach Gon and Killua telekinesis. Lika gave up this idea. Wing, who was leaving here, picked up his mobile phone. Well, I have seen the future star you mentioned, Mr. President, and Gon and others. He does have absolute talent. I have promised to teach Shao, Jie, and others telekinesis when we reach the 150th floor. As for your future star, Mr. Li Ku, forget it. He should have awakened telekinesis, right? But President, in addition to your future star, I have also found several other guys with very strong potential. Understood. I will pay attention to them for you. Wing smiled bitterly. The president of Netero even called him personally, hoping that he could check Li Ku's performance in the arena for the president. There was no other way. The power of the association was too great. After Li Ku and his group registered in the Sky Arena, all the information had been received by Netero. The old man was not at ease with the safety of Li Ku and his group, so he took great pains. Chapter 72. Hit once, really just hit once. Hunter Association Headquarters, President's Office. Netero hung up the phone, feeling very happy. His intelligence followed Li Ku and his friends all the way from the time they left Kukla Mountain to the Sky Arena. Zeno, that little guy, is quite insightful and made the right choice. As for the other talented guys Wing mentioned, they are indeed worth paying attention to, but if they don't have justice in their hearts, they will probably only become trouble in the end. This is just right. If those guys can meet Li Ku, it should be a very exciting game. Netero smiled. If he knew that those tough guys mentioned by Wing were all Li Ku's mind beasts, Netero's expression would probably become very interesting. He still didn't know that Li Ku had grown to a level far beyond his expectations. Mind beasts are something that even Netero himself can't handle. Sky Arena. The 50th and 100th floors are two watersheds. Players who can reach the 50th floor are basically elite, and those who exceed the 100th floor are considered masters among masters. In this Sky Arena, you will get monetary rewards as you increase the number of floors. The reward for the first floor is very considerable, 152 yuan, which is equivalent to the price of a can of juice. If you win here on the 50th floor, you'll get a bonus of 50,000. Listen, Killua said that when he reached the 190th floor, he got 200 million yuan, and then he used all the money to buy candy. 200 million candy. Really arrogant. The players who can reach this floor are obviously much more elite than those in the rookie field before. Each of them looks fierce and seems to be difficult to mess with. Number 10086 against number 8221. Please go to the C ring on the 50th floor. The voice came from the radio. Brother Ku, come on, come on. Brother Li Ku, come on, sir. Killua, Gon, and Canaria all wish Li Ku well. Li Ku didn't care. Anyway, he came here to fry fish. But after Li Ku 28 came on stage, he was a little speechless. His luck was really bad. It turned out to be Zoosi, the little guy who had just been killed by him and was still in the cooling time. It's Mr. Li Ku? Then, I'm sorry. Zoosi was also surprised because there were many contestants on the 50th floor and they could meet again, which was just luck. Come on, use your strongest strength. Li Ku was helpless, but considering Gon and Killua's subsequent training and the small wing boss he would kill on the way, he still had to try his best. So, on the field, it was a completely one-sided battle, and poor little Nie was beaten by Li Ku. In the end, he tried to burst out his telekinesis, but was scolded by Wing outside the field. This battle ended in failure. Li Ku successfully advanced to the next round. Sure enough, it's telekinesis. It's the same telekinesis as Big Brother Ilmi. Big Brother Li Ku can also, but I still can't understand how to open aura nodes. Killa frowned. On the way here, Li Ku had already popularized some knowledge about telekinesis with them. After all, in this world, only those who truly master telekinesis can be considered to have stepped into the threshold of being a strong person. Killua and Gon are still at the level of relying on brute force, and they cannot get inspiration in just a few days. They won the game without a doubt. Killua reached the 190th floor when he was 8 years old, so this place is naturally easy for him. Gon's potential is even more amazing than Killua, of course. In fact, Canaria can reach the 190th floor, and there is even hope for the 200th floor. But she positions herself as a servant. After the game, Liku and others saw Zooc kneeling down in the corridor to admit his mistakes, because telekinesis is only used at the 200th floor. But in fact, this cannot be blamed on Xiao Zhengtai. With Xiao Zhengtai's strength, it is almost impossible to reach 200 without using telekinesis. But it is obvious. Wing's purpose of doing this is to hope that he can reach it through pure practical ability. It is a kind of training for himself, hearing whether his agent is teaching in this way. Xiao Jingtai is also awakened at this moment, full of incomparable fighting spirit. Mr. Wing seems to be a telekinesis master. I wonder if I can ask Mr. Wing for help. After Liku and others arrived, he smiled and said, "It turns out that you are here. It's fate." Wing's eyes lit up. "Of course, as long as it is within your ability." He is full of goodwill for these people to protect his disciple Zooc. I want to ask Mr. Wing to teach my younger brothers Gon and Killua about telekinesis. Like said straight to the point. "Yes, Mr. Wing, can you teach us what Zooc said about training?" Gon was also excited. He had also seen that Li Ku's telekinesis was powerful, but he was helpless. His elder brother had amazing combat power, but he seemed to have no talent in teaching. Telekinesis? Okay, everyone please follow me. Wing was originally a secret instructor of the association, responsible for the awakening of professional hunters' telekinesis. Ordinary professional hunter, if they have not awakened telekinesis, are extremely fragile. Only after awakening telekinesis can they be considered a real strong man. Several people followed Wing to where he lived. Then this super instructor began to teach several people. This kind of thing is already familiar to him. Telekinesis is divided into 4 major elements. Entanglement, focus the mind, and gaze at oneself. Calm the mood, which is a mental concentration method to keep emotions stable. Absolute, eliminate one's own aura and not be detected by the enemy. Refining, use entanglement to concentrate the mind, burst out a strong aura, and sublimate the will through refining. Release, the will of refining can change according to the object, so-called winning by momentum. I don't move, the enemy retreats. The above are called the 4 major actions, collectively known as mind. Wait, Liko was a little surprised, because in his memory, Wing lied when he taught Gon and others for the first time. He didn't teach them the real mind, but this time he actually taught them the real thing. And he even released various effects himself. Strange. Liko looked at Wing with a strange expression. It seems that his appearance has more or less changed the original destiny of this world. If this is the case, there is no need for him to worry too much about other things. And judging from this teaching result, Wing has to be said to be a real gold medal instructor, and he is a genuine gold medal instructor. He has the golden entry of teaching and solving doubts. With his meticulous explanation and penetrating guidance, Jia and Killua's telekinesis training was magically on the right track. The next thing was naturally to practice. It was difficult to get started with telekinesis, but what was even more difficult was the subsequent practice. It takes a long time to accumulate, or even a lifetime of hard work. Of course, this kind of thing does not exist in Liku. He only needs to plunder or copy the other party's entries. Many people have spent their whole lives to forge golden entries, and even red entries can fall into Liku's body. A real plunderer. Mr. Liku, you should also be a master of telekinesis. I believe you have already told you too about some related things. Wing suddenly looked at Liku. Liku suddenly realized. So that's it. Perhaps because of his own existence, Wing did not continue to test Killua and Gon, and directly gave them the most convenient way. And if he lied in this teaching, it would make Wing and others fall into the point of moral condemnation. After all, no matter what, Li Shu and the 10 people had saved his disciples at the beginning. If Wing does not want to teach telekinesis, he can choose to refuse directly, but if he teaches wrongly, it will harm others and repay kindness with hatred. You barely understand a little, Mr. Liku. Why don't we have a fight and also demonstrate it to Gon and the others. Wing pushed his glasses and suddenly said seriously, No, brother. I didn't think of any excuse to brush you off, and you actually came to me? This is really a good brother. Leek almost laughed like a pig. This Wing is really a good person. I was just worried that I had no excuse to find this guy to brush the entries, but I didn't expect that he would come to me directly and hit the gun. But after all, in front of these kids, the reservedness should still be maintained. Ahem. Well, in this case, in order to facilitate Gon, Killua, Zoosi, and other friends to practice, Teacher Wing and I will fight each other and give everyone a demonstration. But Teacher Wing, you have to be careful. I am still a little bit strong in this aspect. Lika said without any modesty. Wing couldn't help but become more curious. A person that President Netero values so much, even calling him a future star. He was very curious, because in his memory, President Netero had never given such a high evaluation even to his own master. You can say, this was the highest evaluation he had heard from the president so far. And he was also very curious about what kind of person could make the president value him so much. If Wing knew that Netero was ambushed by Li Ku, the sixth brother, and was almost seriously injured, he probably wouldn't have made such a naive request. Of course, this is a friendly match after all, and both sides will have reservations. You don't know whether the system will regard this as a battle posture. But it doesn't matter. Once on the battlefield, it's not up to Wing to decide. Great. Master. Killua, Gon, you have to watch carefully. My master is very powerful. Brotherly Ku, don't be afraid. My master will definitely be measured. You must hold on a little longer. Zoosi became excited. He hadn't seen his master take action for a long time, and in his impression, his master was invincible. But the little guy's words instantly made Killua and Gon next to him look complicated, and even the black girl looked weird. What's wrong? Zoosi was confused. Nothing. I just feel that I should be careful. It might be your master. Brotherly Ku is very, very, very strong. Gon also got excited. Yes, he should be much stronger than your master. Zoosi, you should worry about your master. Killua also sighed. This is a man who can beat his father. After all, don't you understand how good your father is? Dad can definitely beat the Teacher Wing in front of him. But anyway, it was just a drill, so they watched it seriously. Inside the room, living room. This is the most spacious place. If you want more spacious, there's really no place, because this is the room of the Sky Arena after all, and is also a room on the 50th floor. 110 does not have any luxurious equipment, such as a special training ground. You can only make do with it. But for Li Ku, it is completely enough. If you fight in this living room, it is all about close combat. It seems that you are really strong, Mr. Li Ku. Let's start. Wing's eyes lit up slightly, and he took the starting position of the Heart Source Fist. Practice. Instantly, Wing's momentum suddenly changed. Gon and Killua's faces suddenly changed. That's the feeling. Especially Killua, his face turned pale instantly, and even his body was shaking slightly, because he saw the same terrifying aura as his brother on the other party. Pure practice oppression. Breath oppression. For people without telekinesis, this feeling is very terrifying. Li Ku didn't mind, and he also started practicing. As a master of telekinesis and the owner of the red entry, this thing is naturally easy for the organization, and he deliberately maintained the oppression similar to the other party. The two sides fought. Both of them were extremely fast, but still within the clear limit, as if they were demonstrating to several little apprentices. But as the battle progressed, Wing's expression began to become strange, because he found that no matter how high his aura was or how fast his fighting speed became, the opponent could easily take it all. Very strong. Really strong. This Li Ku's strength far exceeded his expectations. Several little apprentices were also stunned, obviously very fascinated. Li Ku was also patient, and he and Wing demonstrated most of the moves abruptly, trying to let these little guys learn as much as possible. It's almost time, Mr. Li Ku. The next time should be our time. Let's fight for real. Wing suddenly rushed up and whispered in Li Ku's ear. He really wanted to know to what extent this evil genius valued by the president was, and why the president's evaluation of him even exceeded that of his master. Ding! You and Wing enter the fighting posture. Bingo. Perfect. The so-called fighting posture should be entered directly after the opponent is full of hostility towards you. This saved him a lot of trouble. Okay, then fight. Liko was serious. The next moment, it was really just one hit. Boom, with a dull explosion. Wing was instantly blasted back. Ding. Congratulations on defeating Wing in the battle posture. Ding. 10% chance to automatically copy the opponent's entry. Lucky Star ability triggered. Please select the entry you specify to copy. A sound like the sound of nature rang in Ku's mind. So cool. Chapter 73. 200th floor. Ding. Congratulations on defeating Wing. Specifying the copy entry. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining Enhancer Master of Telekinesis Talent, Gold. A heavenly sound rang out in the organization's mind, and in an instant, countless energies emerged from nowhere and poured into Li Ke's limbs. Enhancer Master of Telekinesis Talent, Gold. Before this, Ke had a purple telekinesis talent. Now that he has obtained the gold, his talent has skyrocketed to a higher level. In the Hunter world, telekinesis is king. But even Netero, who stands at the top of the world and is known as the strongest human being, cannot master all telekinesis. Or in other words, Netero can use all series of abilities, but he can never reach the gold or even red level in every series. But Liko can do it. Conjurer Telekinesis Grandmaster Red. Enhancer Telekinesis Master Gold plus Purple. Emitter Telekinesis Dual Purple. Manifestation Telekinesis Blue. Wait, perfect. It won't be long before Liko can become a real hexagonal warrior. No flaws. The biggest flaw is being too perfect. After obtaining the Enhancer Telekinesis talent, Rick's Enhancer skill page is directly opened. Enhancer, as the name suggests, it can be understood as the effect of armed color domineering. When telekinesis is attached to any object, such as cards, hair, etc., it can make the target indestructible, like steel. And the later the blessing effect, the more amazing it is. I have to say, Wing is really a good helper. Liko is in a very good mood at the moment, but there's a look of panic on his face. Are you okay, Teacher Wing? I was a little careless and used too much force just now. Liko hurried over and apologized. Wing fell on the sofa with a complicated expression. He originally just wanted to test Liko's strength, but he didn't expect that after both sides got serious, he would be defeated by the opponent in one blow. The opponent's strength and speed achieved a leapfrog growth in that moment. Very strong. In a hurry, I didn't have time to defend myself, and was directly defeated by one move. No wonder I was favored by President Netero. Wing's heart is quite complicated at this moment. It's okay. It seems that Mr. Liko is hiding his abilities. I didn't expect that at your age, you can actually possess such a powerful and amazing fighting power. Your future achievements must be limitless. Wing sighed from the bottom of his heart. This made Zoosi, the disciple next to him, dumbfounded. He couldn't understand what had just happened, because in his mind, the master was almost invincible. In his opinion, even a master's above the 200th floor of the Sky Arena might not be the opponent of the master. But now, on this mere 50th floor, a young man who met for the first time, and even looked not much older than himself, actually defeated the master. And in that lightning moment, he didn't even see anything clearly. Teacher Wing is polite. I'm just lucky. Liko sighed. He was indeed lucky. After all, he was a man with a system. I also have to thank Wing and Xiao Zhengtai. One of them directly raised his luck item to gold, and the other one directly opened the Enhancer Nin talent for him. Both of them are my benefactors. Then the others exchanged pleasantries. Wing obviously had a new look at Liko and the others, and naturally did not dare to hide anything about Gon and Killua's guidance, because he knew very clearly that if Liko wanted to teach these two little guys about telekinesis, it would definitely be easy. So there was no need for him to hide anything, and he taught them very seriously. As expected of a gold medal mentor, this teaching of gold items is indeed very effective. When explaining these things, he can explain them in a very simple and in-depth way and let the learners have a better experience. Under Wing's careful guidance, Killua and Gon's nun development has also entered a new chapter. Well, I really want to thank Mr. Wing this time. If it weren't for you, my two friends might not have understood the keys so quickly. 10. Li Ku saluted. You're welcome. With Mr. Li Ku, your strength is more than enough to teach you too. I'm just the icing on the cake. I believe it won't be long before we can hear your name in this sky arena. Wing politely sent them away. Li Ku and the other two chatted for a few words and said goodbye. Looking at the backs of Li Ku and the others leaving, Wing fell into deep thought. Master, is Mr. Li Ku really that strong? Is he stronger than you? The acting master. Zoosi looked at his acting master with a confused face. He had never seen the acting master have such emotions today, because at any time in the past, the acting master seemed to be calm and in control of everything. Zoosi, work hard. You are a genius among 100,000 people, and those two little guys are geniuses among millions of people. In front of them, you're not much different from ordinary people. As for Mr. Li Ku, I'm afraid he is a monster that only appears in 100 million people. Such a guy is destined to have his name passed down throughout the world in the future. He is someone we need to look up to. Wing sighed. The little boy who heard this Zoosi was dumbfounded and stood there blankly. The following days were naturally very boring, but there were some small pleasures of killing monsters and earning points, especially after obtaining the golden entry of Lucky Star. Li Ku's efficiency in brushing entries increased greatly. Every day, lock in one of the most desired entries, and all other junk entries are not important. If there are other ones you want, just let the bad guys Grimjiao and Xiao Wu kill them directly. As for the boiled egg passerby, King Saitama, he will purely focus on luck and accumulate character. Considering that after my own beast mind ability is super great in the future, maybe I can leave a clone, boiled egg teacher, here to brush entries as a permanent ambassador. A certain number of entries are obtained every day. Most of the entries have no effect. Until then, it was crushed and turned into experience points to fill other entries. But some other entries were also brushed one after another. Of course, in this low-level match, there is no entry for telekinesis talent. Even if there is, it is of the blank level. In fact, in the Sky Arena, only when you step into the 200th floor will you meet a real master. Telekinesis is the entrance ticket to the 200th floor, the threshold. The best entries brushed below the 200th floor are some strength, speed, defense, health bar, hidden weapons, poisoning, and camouflage. Li Ku didn't care and took them all. Anyway, this thing has more skills than less. The entries with the same attributes can be directly merged, and the entries with different attributes can be kept. Gon and Killua's promotions were also very good. What a pity. For many days, there was no second entry related to luck in the entire Sky Arena. It seems that it is an overestimation to describe this thing as rare. But there was an accident in one game. Li Ku's clone Saitama met Gon. Li Ku directly found an excuse for the Saturday sale and chose to surrender, automatically landing on the 1000th floor. This made Gon very confused that day. Because he had seen the Bald Man's record, all the battles were resolved with one punch. He even had the title of One Punch Man. But the battle with himself ended without starting, which was a bit weird. And after this period of fighting, plus the frequent telekinesis with Wing, Gon and Killua both awaken early. Wing was not shy, plus Li Ku had taught the two before, so it was natural. They directly had a ticket to enter the 200th floor. And now, a group of highly popular super rookies appeared in the entire arena. These super rookies are very similar. All of them have the title of One Punch Man. Li Ku, Gon, Killua, Grimjiao, Ulquiorra, Saitama. These people rushed to the 190th floor with a completely overwhelming posture. At this moment, in the dim corridor leading to the 200th floor. It's really interesting. I originally just came here to hunt for my favorite fruit, but I never thought. It's really surprising. Grimjiao, Ulquiorra, Saitama, this world is really surprising. There are so many delicious fruits all of a sudden, it's really exciting. The clown man Hisoka, standing at the end of the passage, had a crazy expression, and his eyes were flashing with light. Like a poisonous snake hiding in the dark, he exuded an extremely dangerous aura. He had reached the 200th floor of the Sky Arena a long time ago. In fact, if you exceed the 200th floor in this Sky Arena, you will no longer have any bonuses, and all battles are fought for honor. Even the probability of death above the 200th floor is much higher than that below the 200th floor. But even so, there are still countless contestants who are extremely crazy to reach above 200. He came here for revenge. Liku, this guy, who is obviously his fruit, actually stung his mouth. But this made Hisoka even more crazy and excited. He liked the feeling of being hurt by his prey. Only such business could arouse people's desire to conquer. He wanted to defeat and kill Liku fiercely and let the other party look at him desperately before dying. This was the best way to enjoy the fruit. So, Hisoka came, and from the moment Liku and his team stepped into the arena, he noticed Liku and his group and followed every battle of Liku along the way. Interesting. Very interesting. However, the more delicious the fruit, the more you need to wait. After I kill Liku, there are still several other delicious fruits that need to be tasted. This is something that many people are intoxicated with. The greatest meaning of life is like this. Hisoka closed his eyes in enjoyment, with a touch of curve at the corner of his mouth. 190th floor. Wow. We are so awesome. It took us less than a month to get here. Killua. Gon was very excited. The entire Sky Arena is like a huge tower. The area gets smaller as you go up. The area of the 190th floor is obviously much smaller than the first floor. However, there are very few people who can get here. Almost all of them are so-called strong people with names and reputations. Of course, most of these so-called strong people are noobs because they don't even have the most basic telekinesis and have not stepped into the threshold of the strong people in this world. It just means that they have a combat power far ahead of ordinary people. It's like when I was in the professional, the examiners who were killed in the hunter assessment were probably of this level. Some of them also had some old silver coins hidden, but under Liku's eyes, they were all exposed. Unfortunately, they were all junk. These guys have telekinetic talents, but they are basically white and green. Liku has no interest in taking action. At the beginning, he killed white items for 10 years on Whale Island, and the things were added with gold. These trash can only live at the bottom. There's no need to bleed them here, but it makes me look like a murderer, which is really bad. But this time, the situation is obviously different, because when the old 6th Leopard King squeaked up, the nearby contestants, they all retreated in a circle. There's also the tough guy, Ulquiorra, because this guy killed a lot of people on the way under Liku's control. The two ruthless, Qi and Hao Zhao, guys were amazing. On the contrary, the egg-headed Saitama gave people the feeling of being harmless. In fact, it doesn't matter, they were all created by Liku. And Liku was surprised to find that when he controlled these three beasts at the same time for such a long time, his mental power and skill proficiency were also growing rapidly. It can be said that this is a very good way to train yourself. Soon, the battle on the 190th floor was even easier. Anyway, they're all small fish here. Several people continued to implement the style of the one-hit man and easily defeated the opponent. What's more, now Gon and Killua have both learned telekinesis. Although they're not very skilled in using it, their combat power has obviously improved. Thanks to Brother Ku and Teacher Wing, I feel that my strength has obviously become stronger after opening the aura nodes. Even if I don't use telekinesis, my 5 senses and 6 consciousnesses are much stronger. Killua was full of emotion. The last time I cleared the 190th floor was when I was 8 years old, and I stopped there at that time. The 3 of them entered the elevator with their pockets in their hands and went up again. The next floor is the 200th floor. I heard that those who can reach here are the real strong ones. Their ranking changes are very stable. Gon was a little excited and nervous. 200th floor, I don't know how far we can go. I believe Brother Ku should be able to reach the end, right? Killua was full of emotion. All the way here, he didn't see Liku look serious at all, and he was very relaxed. Just go and see and you will know. Liku smiled. DJ, the elevator sounded. The 200th floor reached Meow. At this moment, the circle centered on Liku instantly spread out in all directions. 10 meters, 50 meters, 100 meters, 200 meters, 300 meters, 400 meters. Chapter 74. Saitama is really One Punch Man Mind Garden. It was the entry that I had brushed out on Old Man Zeno, golden in color. Now Liku is a prototype of a hexagonal warrior. So after this thing is opened, its range actually exceeds Zeno. 500 meters. It is the limit of Liku's circle now. But in fact, it is enough to cover most of the upper level of the Sky Arena. It can be said that you are all in my domain. At this moment, in the dim corridor, Hisoka's expression suddenly changed. He clearly felt a strange mind power sweeping over him, and then covering the entire arena. His face became extremely ugly. Circle. As a master of mind power, he naturally knows this thing very well. And he was also shocked to feel that the other party's mind power was above his own. Who actually arrived here? Hisoka frowned. If he was a hunter waiting for prey before, preparing to hunt here leisurely. But at this moment, he felt a chill on his back, and his heart couldn't help but beat wildly. This feeling was very unpleasant, and it was a sixth sense from the heart, giving him a very strong intuition that at this moment he seemed to have become the prey of a very powerful guy. Not only himself, the opponent even covered the entire upper layer of the Sky Arena. Then, this weird feeling only lasted for a few seconds and disappeared again. The mind circle is like a scanning radar. If it is released for a long time, it will consume a lot of energy. Even Liku did not have such luxury. If it can be used in close combat to compress the range of the mind circle, the effect is equivalent to the observation hockey. Through the mind power covering the body, the opponent's actions can be detected in advance, so as to make the best response. If the range is covered, the consumption of one's own mind power will be greater. But just this moment of scanning is enough. Liku has already checked some people in this arena. The most eye-catching one is naturally that Hisoka. Get out. Suddenly, a very arrogant voice sounded. Short blue hair, blue eyes, a half mask with white bones on his cheeks, hands in his pockets, revealing his strong chest muscles, and a black hollow in his lower abdomen, a katana across his waist, and a man wearing a white 680-10 blade suit appeared. The sixth Grimjow, Liku's mind beast. Hisoka was stunned, because he didn't even notice that the other party had arrived in front of him. This guy was also one of the targets he was going to hunt, but he didn't expect that the other party would take the initiative to provoke him. Moreover, the guy in front of him gave him a strange feeling, but he couldn't tell where it was strange. Hisoka was slightly stunned. Grimjow Leek had already chosen to attack. The claws fell. Boom! Hisoka was repelled, and the wall was like tofu dregs, with 5-meter-long marks cut into it. What an amazing, destructive power. Grimjow Leek looked at Hisoka with a sneer and said sarcastically without giving him any face, "To be honest, what I hate most is insidious guys like you. If you look at me like this again, I don't mind digging your eyes out." Hisoka sneered, looked at Grimjow deeply, and then slowly looked away. Grimjow Leek was not polite and strode in directly. Interesting. It's really an intoxicating taste. Hisoka licked his tongue, looked at Grimjow Leek's back as he left, and looked deeply at the direction of the elevator, and finally chose to leave. Originally, he was going to check whether his other fruits were ripe here, but now it seems that all this is unnecessary. Because there are so many fruits arriving at the arena now, I am afraid I can't eat them all in one bite. Things are getting more and more interesting. Hisoka sneered, his hands in his pockets, and his back disappeared at the end of the corridor. At the other end of the corridor, the elevator door opened. Gon, Killua, and Liku came down. Wow, this place is really different from downstairs. Such a big floor-to-ceiling window, and there are so few people here. Gon was surprised and looked at the empty corridor. At least on the 190th floor, you can still see people crowded together, but here, it feels like there are basically no people. The corridor is very quiet. Liku has a smile on his lips. It seems that his Grimjow's mind beast is very effective, and it directly clears the way for him in advance, saving some unnecessary trouble. He doesn't want to watch Hisoka show off here. I wonder if the progress of Hisoka has cooled down now. The black girl can't come up anymore because she is not a contestant and can only stay on the 190th floor. However, As a big boss above the 200th floor, there are naturally rooms on the 190th floor for the black girl to live in, so there is no need to worry about her problem. The three of them went straight through the passage. "Welcome to the 200th floor. Please sign in here." The receptionist here is obviously much prettier than the one downstairs. It turns out that the quality of service for high-end customers is much better, and you can see blue entries on the receptionist. Of course, these things are quite useless to Liku. Because this receptionist is just an ordinary person, these entries on her are more of a bonus to the service. Are you ready to apply for the competition right away? This episode adopts the declaration battle system. We have prepared a 90-day battle preparation period for you. During this period, you can choose to participate on any day. Of course, it is no problem to fight every day until you are exhausted. You can get another 90 days of preparation period for each battle. But if you don't fight within the time limit, you will lose your qualification and your record will be canceled. Please pay attention. The receptionist said with a smile. "You said 1 fight per time, which means how many fights do you need to fight on this level?" Gon asked curiously. "You must win 10 games to pass this level, but if you lose 4 games before you win 10 games, you will lose your qualification. After you win 10 games, you can challenge the level master. The level masters are the 21 top fighters, from the 230th to the 250th level. Each level is occupied by a fighter. You 3 know, if you can defeat these level masters from that moment on, you will become the ruler of this level. In addition, you can also participate in the fighter festival held on the top floor every 2 years and get the right to compete in this fighting Olympics." The front desk lady said a lot of news. To put it bluntly, the main purpose of fighting on this upper floor is to pursue stronger and gain higher honors. But in fact, the so-called Fighter Olympics is absolutely bragging, because at least the outside world rarely hears about this thing, which means that even if such a competition exists, it is probably not popular. But no matter what, it seems to be a very good opportunity for me. Only the strong are worthy of contributing entries to myself. This is definitely a holy place for brushing entries. Gon and Killua were confused when they heard it. No matter how you look at it, these 2 little guys are actually just children. They are not interested in the honors that the front desk lady said. Their biggest purpose of coming here is to make money and then challenge other players. Because they have witnessed Liku's strength, the 2 of them also have a heart that wants to become stronger at this moment. "Hey, girl, I signed an agreement to fight every Monday and Tuesday." Suddenly, an arrogant voice sounded. "Grimjow Liku, the 6th one is here." He, even glanced at Liku and the others with great arrogance. "Brother Liku, this guy is very dangerous." Killua's face suddenly changed slightly. He even had an illusion that he was back to the time when he didn't have telekinesis at all and faced the terrifying feeling of his brother. The guy in front of him was definitely very dangerous. There was a sense of brutality, like a beast. I felt it too. Gon also looked solemn. Liku's expression was indifferent. "Damn it, as for your own telekinetic beast, the character setting cannot collapse, and the more so, if you get into trouble in the future, you will not think that this guy has anything to do with you. The Bad Leopard King has nothing to do with Liku. He is a bad guy, and Liku is a good guy." Is it really like this? "Sir, if you fight for 2 consecutive days, it will be very dangerous for you. And as long as you have a life, you can get a 90-day cooling bandit." The front desk lady was also startled and reminded him quickly. "Why are you talking so much nonsense? It's only Monday and Tuesday. These 2 days I'm free." The Leopard King grinned and glanced at Liku and the others, his eyes full of arrogance. Soon, his things were done. On Wednesday and Thursday, continuous fighting. The Mind Beast Xiaowu came over, cold as a piece of ice. Even if he didn't get close, he had a sense of indifference that kept people away from him. 014512328 Faloo 033343441. Especially the transparent black hole on his neck. It was even more chilling. A guy with a hole in his chest can still live here. He must be either a ruthless person or a wolf destroyer. Gon and Killua's hearts were inexplicably tense. Before, there was no pressure below the 190th floor, but now, at the 200th floor, both of them felt great pressure. At least the Leopard King and Xiaowu in front of them gave the two a very, very dangerous feeling. This is an instinctive intuition. The front desk lady was so scared that she trembled all over, especially when she saw two green tear marks on Xiao's face. This non-mainstream exclusive is really a bit bluffing. She didn't even ask a question and directly handled the relevant procedures for the other party. It's definitely a monster. Why did two such monsters suddenly appear today? And they chose to fight for 2 consecutive days. Once they reach the 200th floor, many contestants will choose to rest immediately after winning once. In order to maintain their current floor status, they even deliberately selected carefully, depending on the game time of other contestants. If there are those extremely powerful contestants, they will naturally choose to stagger with the other party. So as a front desk lady, she often receives good intentions from some contestants, hoping that she can provide some information about other contestants. Convenient for choosing opponents, but the two guys in front of them didn't have any needs in this regard, but instead said that they were definitely fighting madmen if they wanted to fight continuously. There are only 2 outcomes for a guy like this on the 200th floor. One is that he will die very quickly, and the other is that he has absolute strength. To be honest, no matter which one it is not the one that the receptionist is willing to provoke. Well, please help me choose. I can fight on Friday and Sunday. On Saturday, I have to prepare to go to the supermarket for a special sale and have no time to participate in the battle. Suddenly, a boiled egghead with a strange style came over, looking harmless. It is even hard to understand how this guy can reach the 200th floor. After seeing Saitama in front of her, the receptionist was also confused for a long time. She even couldn't help pinching her cheeks, thinking that she was not awake and not dreaming. But after pinching herself and hurting herself, she found that this was actually real. The egg-headed guy in front of him is a real 200th level contestant, and he also requires continuous fighting. And these 3 guys have one thing in common. That is, they have no requirements for their opponents. That is, anyone who is above 200th level, including any level, can challenge these guys. In fact, as a contestant at this level, you can set certain rules, at least to prevent contestants who are higher than you from coming down to fry the fish pond. Monster. Then, Sir, don't you consider fighting separately? In fact, you only need to fight once every 3 months. Seeing that this braised noodle head seemed to be easy to talk to, the front desk lady took a breath and kindly reminded him. This is not necessary. I came here to fight. Saitama Liku said seriously, okay, prepare it for you right away. Today happens to be Friday. Is it convenient for you to fight today? The front desk lady asked. Saitama Liku nodded. Of course, I came here specifically to play the game today. Of course, it is convenient. 11, okay, I'll arrange it for you right away. The front desk lady said hurriedly. Ah, it's you. Mr. Saitama. Gon recognized the egghead and exclaimed excitedly, because he didn't understand why Saitama suddenly gave up. Oh, you are? Saitama Liku's acting is online. I'm Gon. Do you remember? We met on the 110th floor. Really? I can't remember it. Maybe I played too many games recently. Is there anything I can do for you? No. I'm really excited to meet Mr. Saitama here. Brother Ku, Mr. Saitama is really powerful. He's also the type of one-punch man. The corners of Liku's mouth twitched, and he sighed helplessly in his heart. Saitama is really one-punch man, brother. Chapter 75, Spiritual Master, Purple. Is he really strong? Killua was surprised, because he couldn't feel the strength of the egg-headed man in front of him at all. This guy's style obviously didn't belong to this dimension. He was definitely at the level of a passerby. How could he be strong? But after all, this was said by his best friend, so Killua had to think carefully. He couldn't help but look at the egg-headed man in front of him a few more times, but he still couldn't see any clues. Hello, I'm Liku. Liku asked his mind beast very politely. Hello, Saitama. The actor was acting himself. As long as he acted truly, then when anything happened, he would have evidence of his absence. What's more, Mr. Saitama was prepared to stay in the Sky Arena for a long time to brush the entries. So the character's setting must be established. At least don't let others find out the clues. The few people exchanged a few words with each other. Gon seemed to admire Saitama very much. In his opinion, Saitama was a very powerful existence. Killua couldn't feel it. This has to be said to be amazing in the red entry. This kind of mind beast also incorporates the use of absolute. Once it is created, it will conceal all the breath. Even a strong man of Hisoka's level can't sense that the Gaga Leopard King, who provoked him at the beginning, is actually Li Ku's mind beast. There is no way. The talents between everyone are actually a gap. This is a red entry. Hisoka's mind power is only golden. As for Gon Killua, it is naturally even more difficult to see. Haha, One Punch Man? Just a rookie who just came up from below. These 200 floors are completely different from what you imagined. I haven't met rookies like you for a long time. And this braised egghead, ha 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 ha. Suddenly, a sneer sounded from the side. Gon Killua immediately looked over, and the two looked unhappy. It is not a happy thing for anyone to be ridiculed by others when talking to friends. The guy who came towards him was a guy with an expression like a mask and old clothes. The old player here. Sadeso. Lika's eyes lit up slightly. Interesting. Although this guy in front of him is a weakling, his entries are interesting. Name. Sadeso entries. Conjurer telekinesis talent. Double blue. Telekinesis skill invisible left wrist. Purple. Cunning. Purple. Kidney deficiency. Blue. Etc. Brother. Do you know that the person standing in front of you is a conjurer telekinesis grandmaster, the owner of red entries? Liku smiled. The opponent's entry talent is double blue, SOSO, but the telekinesis skill is purple, which is a bit unexpected, and it is this ability that Li Ku cares about. Invisible left wrist. If I remember correctly, this guy can turn his ki into an invisible state and fight with his wrist. It's really a rubbish method. The Conjurer's ability is just this, but this skill is of great reference significance to me, something like an invisible hand. It's best to use it for sneak attacks. Even if it is developed well, maybe you can come up with some kind of sword control technique. For example, controlling the sword with ki, etc. Only newbies can talk about such ridiculous topics as One Punch Man, and you don't even know how to blush. Don't separate this place from the garbage gathering place below. Kids, when you come here, you must. Sadeso smiled. He had been waiting for a long time for an old man who had been hanging around on the 200th floor. In fact, with his strength, he had some luck in breaking through here, and in order to maintain his ranking in this team, he did not work hard to practice, but targeted the newcomers who had just come up. Once he found a guy who was easy to bully, he would go up and taunt him, and use provocation to make the other party sign a battle agreement with him. After defeating the opponent, he would get a 90-day cooling period to maintain his ranking here. It was a pure idea of bullying, but it was this despicable method that allowed him to be like a fish in water on the 200th floor and even summed up his own experience. And in his opinion, these newcomers in front of him were definitely the weakest he had ever seen. For such a small brat to be able to get here, he must have used a lot of shameful methods, and his own strength must not be very strong. Especially this boiled egghead, who looked like the easiest to bully. But this time he didn't finish his words. Saitama suddenly turned around, and the other party, as if writing something, accidentally slapped him with a palm. Instantly, boom, Sadeso screamed, vomited blood, and was slapped on the wall behind him and embedded in it. Ding! You defeated Sadeso in the Sky Arena in a battle posture. Ding! Lucky Star Daily Talent is open. Please specify the drop. Entry specify the drop. Ding. Congratulations on obtaining telekinesis skill invisible left wrist. Purple, a sound like the sound of nature rang in Liku's mind. Instantly, the use of this telekinesis skill flooded into Liku's mind. Good talent. Purple invisible left wrist. After obtaining the use of this telekinesis skill, Liku was able to integrate and understand it thoroughly in an instant. Because at this time, he was definitely at the level of a grandmaster in the use of telekinesis skills. He had absorbed too many terms, which was equivalent to countless geniuses practicing hard for him for many years. Invisible left wrist purple. Conjurer. Ding. Congratulations on successfully developing your own personal telekinesis skills, spiritual, psychic, master psychic. Purple. A sound like the sound of nature rang in Li Ke's mind. This is the second ability he created himself as a time traveler, combined with some memories of his previous life, including his self-appreciation of these telekinesis skills in this life. Thus, he developed a new ability. Spiritual Psychic Master, Psychic Purple. This ability can directly allow Li Ke to control some daggers or flying swords, and even force telekinesis to turn into invisible shields, etc. Very convenient. And Li Ke's control range can be directly spread throughout the range of his own circle. Very cool. The invisible left wrist of Sadeiso, this waist, can only cover a range of about 1 meter and no more than 3 meters at most. Very useless. But after this skill of his became Li Ke, he directly developed a more powerful skill. Within a range of 500 meters, I am invincible. Mental thoughts can also be spread everywhere. Complete control. Perfect. Li Ke felt very comfortable. Although he was a waste, the entries he brushed out gave him a very important reference. He had to thank him for his contribution. Huh? What happened just now? Sorry, you are fine. Saitama. Li Ke had a confused expression. This scene made Gon and Killua even more confused, because in their opinion, Sadeiso was definitely not a weak chicken, but such a player on the 200 floor was directly killed in seconds. So strong. Killua suddenly realized that everything Gon said before was true, and he had greatly underestimated the fighting power of this bald head. Even when the other party attacked just now, he didn't even notice how he did it, but the guy who came to ridicule everyone was directly slapped away. This is definitely not a coincidence, but this bald guy really attacked. Very strong. But Gon couldn't help but be shocked. This trip to the Sky Arena shocked him more than ever before. The most important reason was that he found all kinds of top talents in the Sky Arena. You should know that before this, he was not very fond of cultivation because he always thought that he was a real genius. Even if his grandfather said that the skills were very troublesome, he could learn them quickly. But now he finally realized the gap between himself and these top geniuses. Geniuses are not scary. What is scary is those geniuses who work hard. Mr. Saitama, I have decided that you are also one of my life goals that I must defeat. Killua suddenly said solemnly for no reason. Li Ke was a little bit amused. Killua is now a little nervous. He has set so many goals one by one, and I don't know when he can complete them. If he knew that the bald man in front of him was the mind beast he controlled, I don't know what Killua would think. Oh, that's great. I am Saitama. If you are free, you can always welcome your challenge. Saitama, Li Ke said seriously. 014512328 Faloo 0333533021. Of course, there must be a free time, and the so-called free time is naturally when Killua's cooling time is up. Li Ke smiled in his heart. Killua, Mr. Saitama, I will definitely catch up with you because my big brother is Brother Ke. Killua is full of confidence. Li Ke's mouth twitched. Hello. Hello. Who is my battle target today? Saitama, Li Ke asked the front desk lady curiously. Every one of these players above the 200th floor is a hot commodity. As long as they are present, I want to brush them. Wash, 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 wash. Washing is healthy. EXT. The front desk lady took out the information and said in a trembling voice. She didn't expect that the bald man in front of her who looked harmless was so powerful, far beyond her expectations. Sadeiso. The bald man scratched his bald head. That's the guy you knocked out. The receptionist said awkwardly. Everyone was speechless. Li Ke was also a little amused. The game ended before it even started. But this Sadeiso is a good man, and he even saved himself a battle quota. But looking at his appearance, I'm afraid he can't participate in today's battle. Otherwise, I help you to look again, just let's go to Mr. Jaido, but the time will probably be set in the afternoon. The receptionist said hurriedly. Okay, that's it. Let me know when the time comes. The bald boiled egg said hello to Li Ke and his group and left. Please help me arrange the battle time on Saturday. Li Ke also went up to arrange his own battle time. I didn't expect the rules of the Sky Arena to be so convenient, which means that as long as the time is staggered, it is almost impossible to fight against me. Comfortable. Saturday? Is it this week? Or next week? Or, the receptionist said hurriedly. Every week, Lika said with a smile. Every week. Sir, are you sure? Okay, I will arrange it for you according to your request. The receptionist looked at Liku very wrongly. At least in her opinion, Liku in front of her had no other outstanding features, except that he was a little handsome. In terms of appearance, he was not as fierce as the two weirdos who were supposed to fight on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. In terms of strength, he was naturally not as fierce as the bald-boiled egg just now. What happened today? Why did so many weird guys suddenly appear, and every request was particularly weird? The receptionist felt an unprecedented headache, but Liku's words shocked Gon and Killua behind him. Brother Ku. So this is Brother Ku. Even in the face of danger, he will never retreat. Only by fighting every week can we constantly hone ourselves. Killua, we must also constantly train ourselves in this way to become stronger. Otherwise, we will never be able to catch up with Brother Ku. Gon suddenly realized and was shocked. Well, please help us arrange the time for the battle. I want Wednesday. Gon. Sunday. We have to fight every week. The fighting spirit in the two little guys was infected by Li Ku's words, and they were completely ignited and full of fighting will. This little flame burned, making Li Ku standing aside extremely embarrassed. Two little brothers. Can I say that I just want to brush the entries for my convenience? Why are you here to join in the fun? It's a headache, but forget it if I accidentally queue up my own clones. If the cooling time of the two little guys has passed, I will kill them. If not, I will admit defeat. It doesn't matter. The entry is the most important thing. Nothing else matters. After completing the relevant formalities, Li Ku and the other two went directly to their rooms under the guidance of the young lady. After arriving at the 200th floor, their living conditions and treatment have been significantly improved. In the rooms on this floor, everything is obviously much better. The next step is to wait for the entry. At the same time, on the other side, the unlucky Sadeiso has been sent for treatment, and his two partners, the Euro monster Jido and the wheelchair man Realvelt, had wonderful expressions. I didn't expect that my good partner was beaten, and at the front desk of the registration for the game, the opponent was a bald egg. Even the good partner didn't see clearly how the opponent attacked. What made the two most unhappy was that the damn BD didn't come to deal with Jido in the afternoon. Boss, Sadeiso, the idiot, lost. That kid is probably very strong. We are in trouble now. The voice of the Euro man Jido was extremely cold. The guy who goes against our trio will never have a good ending. Since he can prevent Sadeiso, the idiot, from fighting, we can also prevent him from going on stage. The wheelchair man Realvelt sneered. Boss, what do you mean? The Euro dwarf suddenly became interested. The two talked quietly. In the room 300 meters away from them, Li Ku opened the circle out of boredom, just like listening to the radio broadcast, listening to the conversations of the guys around him. Then, their conversation fell into Li Ku's ears very clearly. Great. Brother, good idea. Isn't this convenient for you and me? During the lunch break, Li Ku almost laughed like a pig. Chapter 76, Transmuter Talent. Purple. Please call me Hexagonal Warrior. Friday. Sky Arena, 200th floor, shopping area. As the top competitor center, it not only has a full set of combat facilities, but also a fairly complete living service area. As long as you have enough money and status, you can enjoy the same enjoyment as an emperor here. Food, women, etc., everything is available. Oh, this is a special price of potato chips. As long as you're a contestant with more than 200 points, you could get a 30% discount. It's really good. A boiled egghead was squatting in front of a vending machine, staring at the discounted items in the shopping window thoughtfully. This potato chip sells very well. It is the most popular product here. And there are these. Do you want to try this? Suddenly, a strange voice sounded next to the bald head. The bald bullhead looked over and saw a guy covered in a cloak with his legs like spinning tops. He came over and took out a snack and handed it to Saitama. These? Saitama curiously stretched his head to look over and found some banana chips lying inside. What naive fool. I didn't expect that unlucky Sadeiso would lose to this guy. It's done. Jido, the spinning top man, laughed wildly in his heart. Realvelt, The wheelchair man, who was hiding in the dark and watching everything, also had a bright look in his eyes. The snack bag contains a colorless and odorless medicine. The effect range is not wide, but as long as you bring this thing close to the other party and sniff it, it can cause the target to be poisoned. After poisoning, the operation of the mind power in the body will be hindered. The effect of the medicine will last for a week. Everyone knows that you must not trust anyone on the 200th floor, but I didn't expect this bald guy to be so stupid that he was really stupid. Give him something casually, and he really came over to smell it. Isn't this directly useless? Saitama, the braised egg, looked inside the bag curiously, and then took out a piece of highly poisonous banana chips. Crack, 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 chew it up, and ate it in front of the spinning top man. The so-called eating is just a casual action of the mind beast. Jido, the spinning top man, was even more ecstatic. Just now he was worried that if he just smelled it, the effect would not be significant. But now, this bald guy actually ate the poison directly. Ha ha ha, it's done. Let's kill him together and avenge the killing of that guy. Jido stopped pretending and showed his cards. Bald, your luck ends here. Maybe no one told you that above the 200th floor, you have to be careful of others in addition to the competition. You are a fool. You should challenge again in your next life. Real Velt, the wheelchair man, smiled and came over from behind in a wheelchair. Don't talk nonsense with this guy, lest the night is long and dreams are many. Kill him now. Don't worry. Hega. Battle waltz. Jido laughed excitedly, suddenly pulled out his crutches, and waved his hand. Suddenly, a series of gyroscopes were spinning rapidly on the cane. Swish, swish, swish. As he waved the cane, the gyroscopes jumped down and then quickly shot around Saitama like bumper balls, making a fierce buzzing sound. Bang, 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 bang. Before Saitama, the mind beast, could react, the gyroscopes had already hit the target one after another. Hee. Don't underestimate my gyroscope. Although it's a small thing, after being injected with mind, its power is amazing. Jido's excited voice showed that all the gyroscopes hit Saitama. This guy's been hit by me at least 50 times. I'm afraid he can't stand up now. This is the fate of dealing with our team. Boss, we have already booked this idiot for today's competition. If he can't come on stage, we will win directly. Jido grinned, but soon his smile gradually disappeared. In the dense shadow.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.